Hello, and welcome to Scuttlebutt, the War Movie Review Podcast. We're happy to have you with us as we take a look at films from the dawn of cinema to today. We aim to provide a raw and unapologetic review of each film's cinematography, historical accuracy, and delivery. In the process of analysis, certain details will be revealed. These spoilers are only divulged to ensure a fair assessment of each film. We head into Fortress Europe this week with Harald Zwart's 2017 World War II drama, The Twelfth Man. As always, I'm joined by Mike A.
Hey, hey.
Mike B.
Yep.
Nate.
This little piggy went to market.
And this week's special guest, Brian Rao of Milsurp Accuracy Incorporated. Thanks for joining us, man.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, and now just to plug you for a bit, you have an accurizing company and stuff for snipers and things?
Yeah, so back in the day when I first got into Milsurp, they had, I noticed that in order to make certain rifles more accurate, specifically the Mosins, they would use these steel shims, and no one made them, so I seized the opportunity to reproduce them because they're a pain in the ass to cut out yourself. So.
Yeah, they're very strange shape to the bottom of the Mosin receivers. Do you sell on Gunbroker and stuff? Because I think I might have seen some of the shims for sale.
Yes, on Gunbroker, on eBay, and I have my own website, milsurpaccuracyinc.com.
Damn, that's awesome, dude. I've read a lot of sniper memoirs. I was actually going to make a sniper movie last year. Long story short, it didn't end up happening. But in Palachenko's memoir, she talks a lot about accurizing the Mosin snipers, the PEs and the PEMs, and how they would do crazy shit like that. Removing the barrel or making free-floating barrels and shims and stuff. So it's really cool that shit's on the market.
And the Mosin always got kind of a bad reputation, I think, as far as accuracy. And I kind of like the underdog, and the fact that with a little bit of tuning that you can make the rifle shoot actually quite well. I always found that interesting. So.
Yeah, the problem is that people, buy their $100 Ukrainian rebuilt garbage rods with 14 million different manufacturer tolerance parts. And then that sticky bolt Moisin's a piece of shit. And it's like, no, you don't know what you're talking about.
And they'll base their accuracy off of spam cam ammo at 200 yards or something like that.
Yeah, right. It's just so retarded.
Yeah.
Ugh, but definitely like the underdogs. But awesome. Yeah. Shims are fun. And there's at least one sniper in this movie I saw, the ZF-41.
Yep.
Yes, I caught that.
So,
we'll definitely talk about that.
Oh, yeah. But thanks for joining us, dude. And and while we're here, so do initial thoughts. What did you think about the film?
I thought it was cool. I like, everybody likes Saving Private Ryan and Fury and the big name movies and stuff, but there were so many stories that happened during World War II that we don't really get to hear quite often. And this was kind of something that, obviously it's foreign made, so it's not like Tom Hanks is in it or anything like that. We get to see a story from another country. I just found it interesting.
Yeah, no, it's definitely out there. In Norway, you kind of hear about it getting invaded and getting liberated, and they put U-boats there.
Yeah.
So the actual crazy history about the beginning campaigns and the whole resistance movements you really don't hear about, but nice to see that out there. What do you think about it?
The torture fest that he goes through too is just remarkable. So.
Yeah. Well, it's funny. I just watched another film a few weeks ago called 12 Minutes, which is about the 1939 plot to kill Hitler. That failed because he was so erratic. And that movie literally is just like a documentary about how the Gestapo fucking interrogates someone. Dude, I want to rip off my own fingernails now so that nobody can fuck with them in the future.
So it's pretty much a snuff film, right?
Dude, yeah. At one point in my notes, I write it just turns into fucking torture porn. This is CBT the movie, about an hour into it.
Yeah, foot torture porn.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, right. It's like Tarantino's enemy. I'm less hardcore as I used to be. I don't know. I used to watch that shit and not care. Now I can't. I'm just you know what? If I'm in a hell situation where I have to do that, I will because I have to. But I'm not gonna fucking watch it.
Yeah.
Green toes are not fun.
Yeah, it's kind of different in terms of movies we usually watch on Scuttlebutt because it's not necessarily it is a war film, but I saw it as more of just a survival film, And survival films are, I like survival films a lot, of course, Castaway, 127 Hours, movies like that. And that's kind of what I saw this as. And I thought in terms of a survival movie, it's very good. I liked it a lot. All of these survival elements and just the brutality of dealing with the elements and nature and stuff like that, I thought were really well done.
Yeah, Norway sucks in the winter.
It's one thing to take away from it.
You should come to Wisconsin sometime.
All right. Well, yeah, because you live in fucking Snowville. You know, like it's like Wisconsin, but they don't make cheese.
Well, Brian, you're from Illinois, right?
Yeah, I'm from Illinois. We're getting hammered right
Northern
now.
or southern?
Northern.
Yeah. So yeah, it's been a pretty mild winter, but have you guys gotten the snow that we've gotten?
Not as bad as you guys, I don't believe. We probably got about 6 inches last week, but lately it's been the cold here.
Yeah, it's a cold front. Yeah, it's been a bitch. Like wake up in the morning and it's like -14, and it's like, again, I've said this on podcasts before, but like, there's a reason that the Scandinavians wanted to settle here because they're like, oh, this is like home.
Yeah, for nostalgia.
Brutal fucking winters, really hot and shitty summers. So, yeah.
Sign me up.
Yep.
Where I think it's like I think the coldest it's gotten here this year is like 8 degrees, and it was like for like a night. And I think on average we're hitting here in Maryland like between 30 to 40 degrees every day.
Well, that's what Brian was saying is like it's been pretty mild in like in New England on the East Coast. Like, you know,
This is the winter without a winter this year. Like we've had half an inch of snow. Like this has never happened. It's very strange.
And they're getting pounded in New York State, like upstate. They're getting
Upstate's
pounded.
getting really bad. Yeah. But like,
it's
but it's been really cold though. Like we've had negative 25-degree days. Like I had my pipes freeze one day. I think I didn't burst, but like fucking, you know, it's been strange winter. But yeah, I'm used to. I used to be like, oh, I'm a northerner, like I'm a hardy guy, and now like our winters are mild, so like, I can't be a dick anymore. It's like, oh yeah, like, fucking. I basically live in SoCal.
Yeah, we used to be able to brag that we would get snow here in Maryland, and I don't think we've gotten snow here more than like 8 inches in like
before
4 or
Gettysburg
5 years.
or after Gettysburg, because I don't ever remember it snowing down there.
Dude, we used to have like 3 feet. We used to have like 3 feet of snow like every 3 to 5 years, and I don't think we've had that since
the Vikings conquered Maryland.
2016. So it's been almost 7 years. So, yeah,
the world is dying.
Yeah,
but
anyway, Arctic survival movie. I mean, you know, I think I'll jump off on my point. I mean, I was very pleasantly surprised because normally when I see IFC, not that IFC does bad movies, just IFC normally doesn't do stuff that looks very high budget. And for the most part, except for the avalanche scene, which I'll touch on that later, with the plane, this movie, I really, really loved it. I really fell in love with it. I'm not in love with gangrene. I'm definitely not in love with peeling bandages back and having toes fall off. Hence my comment when I opened up with.
What do you mean?
Yeah. Ugh, God. And I had a hand. It's not feet, but I had a hand injury years ago, and so that's just like So yeah, no, it was as Mike B says, not good. But no, it was the way it was filmed. I guess what I always comment the most about is cinematography and editing. And editing, even though it was kind of basic pace, there were some very unique editing styles when he has delirium, and like and very unique ways of cutting. And I love the way those dream sequences were made together. That was really, really, really cool and really out there, but it was so simplistic. And I think that's what made it really good, was that it was so simplistic, but it was just very, very out there, but in a very rudimentary way, and it really worked. And I really love this movie overall. Even the reindeer games at the end, you know, it was I still loved it. So, you know, it was I really liked it. And I thought, again, when I see IFC, I don't see high budget. I normally see low budget. And even though there were some low budget-esque things to it, the cinematography pulled it out of that. And that did really, really well. So, yeah, really great. Really, really good movie for me.
Who are you passing the fucking torch on to now?
How about you?
Well, Brian hasn't gone yet, but anyway. I'll pass it to you, Brian. I promise. Yeah. Again, like Nate said, it's very well done. It was basically like the Revenant for World War II.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Yeah, it was exactly, and I think that's why I liked it as well. Yeah,
dude, if this was not like actually based on a true story, I would be like, there's absolutely no fucking way. Like, there's not.
Yeah,
because like again, I live in a cold environment, and man, a lot of that shit they might have exaggerated it in the film and like whatever, but like even if they didn't, this guy lived, and it's like, holy fuck, man.
Yeah.
Like, how do you do that? But yeah. Anyway, again, what you said, Nate, with the cinematography is like it was actually very well done, I think, and the editing was pretty good.
yeah.
There are some technical errors with the uniforms that I will definitely get into in a little bit. But and right here we can see the holding of the firearms and the Luger and whatnot. But like besides that, like it's cool, it's believable to an extent. Like it's just fucking insane. Like if this guy actually went through all that shit and still survived with losing a few toes, which is like a miracle. Yeah, fucking crazy.
I tried to do a deep dive on the history. I couldn't really find anything that was very kind of cut and dry.
Well, of course, like it's Norwegian history, and like nobody cares about them because they didn't fight in the Great World War II. It's like that's what sucks about this.
Yeah, there were some stories of comparing it, but there was an article paywall, so I couldn't really get to the one that had done a lot of research to it. But I think we can safely assume, and then we'll pass off the Brian. I think we can safely assume that the plane finding him on skis and then causing an avalanche. No, but the avalanche possibly happening. Yes, I could believe that 100%.
Yes,
the plane causing it and all that stuff. I don't know, but anyway,
I'm gonna pass my torch to Brian, the 13th man.
Yes, yep, the guy that ordered them to their deaths.
Never existed. So.
As far as you know. Toe scene's coming up here. If you guys want to see that too.
Yeah.
Pause it for a second.
Yeah.
I'm gonna now.
Let Brian just go through his initial thoughts.
I'm gonna go stand in the water with a stopwatch and see if I could stay there for 20 minutes.
I have things to say about that whole part of the movie, but yeah.
Yep.
I don't know. I mean, it was shot beautifully. It's a very interesting subject. I just feel like, it was a bit predictable. It was very linear, and I don't know. I mean, there's a lot better resistance movies out there. Yep. And I feel like it just turned into like survival porn, which is fine. It's a very interesting story. Don't get me wrong. But like, I don't know. It got to like in 90 minutes in, I'm just like, okay.
It was sold with World War II being the subject, is what you're saying.
Yeah. Right? And like, I really like the idea of Norway during this period of time. I mean, I know a lot about the whole heavy water like shit they did to try to destroy the German plants and stuff. It's fascinating. It's really, really cool history. But like with this, it was just, I don't know. And then the more I dug into the real history of it, the more I was like, oh, like those 12 guys, 8 of them were fishermen that had no idea that like they were doing
what was going on.
4 of them were S.O.E. operatives that were Norwegian soldiers that were trained. And like,
sucks.
Yeah, and I don't know. Very interesting subject, but I don't feel like this was made that well. And again, I keep coming back to this idea that films are products of their own culture, and this is a film about a miracle guy from Norway for Norwegians. It's a very fascinating story for Norwegians, but like it's not a. There's much better resistance movies out there. But
am I gonna throw your own line at you?
What?
This movie's not made for you, Brian.
No, it's not, but it's just like, I don't know. They could have, I'm judging it on
you
this
Norwegian?
movie making. And no, I'm not. But like, I will agree with you though, Nate. There's some things I loved. And one of those things I loved was the cabin sequences. I loved that dream sequence. I thought that was fucking, wow.
That
pulled me really back into the film.
That pulled the movie really much higher, in my opinion.
Yeah,
that
like
the whole like weirdly from when the barn, a little bit before the barn, when he's wandering like very like from the avalanche on, I felt like the movie upgraded in tier and in editing stuff a lot more. Even though it became more predictable, I felt like the scale of the editing and the cinematography and the difference in a survival movie, it seemed like it kind of really it went higher up in my opinion from that sequence on, to me personally.
True.
Yeah.
You know, I also do love how fucked up he gets. And like they show how a human can degrade over time to the point where like you're literally relying on other people to exist. I really like that. The fragility, you know, in this environment of flesh and bone and things, you know, that was really cool. But I don't know. I mean, I just felt like it could have been cut a lot better. And I didn't like how like they slowly revealed the origin of it. It just like kind of made me not interested in it. Because I'm like, wow, it's fucking, this is really cool. They used to take S.O.E guys, train them in Scotland, all over Scotland, and fucking, you know, put them into Norway through like these boats and shit, which is really cool. They could have like done a more traditional, what is it, Guns and Navarone approach, which I think would have been fucking awesome. You know, to like showing these guys going to it and getting compromised, and which they really did get compromised in reality as they did in the actual movie. But no, we'll get into it. Just overall, it felt more in line with the more modern renditions of resistance in occupied Europe. It reminded me a lot of Flame and Citron, if you guys have seen that. And it also reminded me a lot of, what is it? The Netflix film that just came out, The Unknown Battle or something.
Forgotten
Battle.
The Forgotten Battle.
Yeah.
Forgotten Battle, yeah.
I still haven't
just
seen
like,
that yet.
It's just a little too over the top in this, like, I don't know. They just take the low road for filmmaking, in my opinion. So it's an interesting story, but
I again, when it comes to the survival stuff, I thought that was really well done. What I didn't like necessarily was all of the stuff with the villain. You know, the SS guy. That guy is a villain, a war movie villain right out of a '60s war movie. You know, like and. The icy, like, you know, humanless killing machine. It's like they say he's never, you know, not caught anyone. I'm just like, you know, bullshit.
That was a weak part of the movie. I like the actor a lot because he's in a lot of other things.
Oh sure, yeah.
But yeah, the character itself is weak.
It's funny because you mentioned The Revenant, and like Tom Hardy's character in The Revenant is like one of the best parts of the movie, except I hate that it's involved with this bullshit like revenge thing. It's like in these survival movies, don't include that villain aspect. Like it's just have the survival be the thing, you know?
It doesn't have to be a Shakespeare opera in a fucking survival situation all the time.
Right, yeah. So that was my thing about it. Although I did get wrapped up in the cinematography in every scene. I thought it was amazing.
Norway's fucking beautiful.
You know? But like, it's shot beautifully too. Just I mean, some of the shit like with the and some
star
of the
shells
shots,
at night. That was so cool.
I really think that's what I'm really gonna hound in here, and then we should ask Brian R. what he's thinking about what he hated as well. Is like for me, I really think the cinematography and the editing really pulled it out in my eyes. Because I think we've just had a lot of stints of movies recently, which is bad cinematography and bad shot placement. And I think this really, I'd have to look up who the cinematographer was for this, but really good shot placement all around. Just like even when it was normal shots, it's like everything's framed well. Yes. I don't know how to describe it. It's like it's just framed really well. And there's and the just all that was really good. Whether the story's good, but I think the presentation of the story is what I'm really diving in on for this movie. But let's hand off to Brian. I'm curious.
Well, I was going to ask a question to Brian.
Yeah, go.
Because he hails from the great white north of the United States, you know, and so. In those water scenes where he's like trying to put these guys that are fucking emaciated, whatever, but like he himself goes in there and he lasts like 20 seconds.
Yeah.
Have you been in like that cold of water where it's like below freezing, but it's salt water?
No, I have not.
I have not either, but I've been in 33 and 34 degree water.
Yeah, that's good enough.
20 seconds if you claim to be as big of a badass as this SS, or I'm sorry, he's not SS, he's Gestapo.
Yeah.
Right. If you claim to be as big of the badass as he is, do you think you could maybe last more than 20 seconds with your waist deep fucking cold water?
Yeah, especially with all those guys watching, because there is a pressure
Right.
there. Like everybody's like, all right, let's see this guy kind of put his money where his mouth is, and yeah,
Right, and you've been in cold water. Like after like 20 seconds, you start to go numb.
yeah.
Not in a
So
bad way. It's just like your body just like heats up and you go numb, and it's like, okay, we're good.
why not
I'll stay here all
24?
fucking day.
Why not 24? And then why not
Right.
30 then? And just keep kind of pushing yourself. I mean, he had a whole support system there. He wasn't being held in the water at gunpoint like the other guys.
Correct. Yep. And he's just the biggest pussy. Like, okay, maybe they made that for the film, but also, why would you get your fucking boots wet? Which is dumb.
There was something else about that scene I wanted to bring up once we got to it. Should I save it until we get to that point?
No, right now. Let's just go. It's a conversation.
Okay. If
The
you
movie's just on for the background. It's not
Okay.
because we're waiting
Yeah.
to get there.
got you. If you did notice, did you guys notice the clothes of the prisoner, the tall prisoner that he forces in?
I was gonna say they look like Russians to me.
They look Russian. So
Yeah,
this guy right
there's
here.
The padded. Yeah.
So
Definitely
I
Tellos-
immediately
Tellies.
I Googled and it found out that 84,000 Soviet prisoners were sent to Norway during the war, and there's also some Poles and Yugo. So I don't
For
know.
Hiwis, probably.
Yeah, I don't know if that's. I mean, obviously they must have had a reason to use kind of like Soviet clothing for these particular prisoners.
But then in this scene, he's just got his shirt on.
Yeah. Well,
Maybe they took it
they
off.
stripped it off him.
Yeah.
Sorry.
I found that interesting.
Yeah, the Hiwis are interesting. People don't really know about them, but they were these Soviet soldiers in a lot of cases, or civilians, Ukrainians and Russians and Belarusians, whatever, that just, they put in their chips with the Germans. And they did laundry and stupid shit. And they were very common on the Eastern Front. They're very common in memoirs and things you hear about them. And then also in the West, because you need the manpower to do shit. So I know in Normandy especially, there were tons of Hiwis that kind of got moved east in the early part of 44 because they kind of realized there was going to be an invasion. But yeah, no, there's tons of these, Slavic-speaking peoples in traditionally what they would say Western Europe and stuff.
See, I think it's little details like that, along with the cinematography, that kind of made me enjoy this movie.
Yeah, because I would have never known that about, like, they sent fucking prisoners to Norway.
Right.
So
Talking on the Gestapo character guy getting in the water, and I know the kind of sentiments like, oh, what a fucking bitch. I actually look at it as a very humanizing scene, actually, more than I think than that. I think it's more of like, he's trying to convince himself that this guy didn't make it, and he's trying to come up with that, and I think that is very humanizing in the sense of like this dude who's this kind of egotistical, like, well, there's no body, so you're not gonna fucking why come on. But the fact that he gets in the water and he barely lasts a quarter of what those Russian guys are going through,
Right.
and it's just like, I think that's very humanizing for him to be like, well, fucking goddamn it, like, maybe you're right. And that's what makes him go, okay, no, there's 12 guys, we killed 12. And then he makes that mistake,
Like we were saying, that he's not even a gunpoint at that point. Where
right. Yeah.
The Russians were. I don't know. It is interesting.
It just felt more of like, well, maybe it's almost like the expert is second guessing himself because of the extreme climate, and him going through that and him giving up is going like, well, there's no fucking way this weak Nordic guy lasted. Then there's no way. And I think that is also very humanizing in that scene. And I don't think it's more of like, oh, what a bitch. I think it's more like, oh shit, like saltwater is a lot more colder than freshwater when it's like, I don't think I could do that. I'd be squealing and wailing like a little bitch, just thinking my little bad boys in there.
Well, also, if you don't,
You're
know
a
how to
sailor,
handle
so
it,
anytime you're in the water is not a good time.
Oh fuck, dude, wet
Well,
socks.
but here's the thing: is like realistically, like if you knew how to handle it, like Jan probably would have, and he also had adrenaline, which is fun. But like you can actually swim in that shit for a limited amount of time. You can survive in that amount of cold.
Yeah,
your brown fat
if you
kicks
know
in.
if you know how to If you know what you're
and
doing.
you know what to expect. It's like
Yeah.
it's like so people that like they do like Margot Robbie, right? She was doing a thing for a film where she like was trained by like SEALs to be underwater for like 5 minutes, right? And she's like one, or I don't know if it was SEALs, but it was somebody that like was like an expert at like underwater shit. And they told her like, here's what you're gonna expect at about this many seconds. This is probably gonna happen. You're gonna have that like sucking in thing, and your body's gonna shut down. You might pass out. We're here, like we're good, but like here's what to expect. And then she said when she did it more, it became less like of an anxiety thing. It was just like, okay, here's what I expect. And then she was able to push past these things and like get better at it. And so if you grew up in Norway, okay, the Germans have a lot milder climate than Norway. Like they do. They're very far south. It's like basically like Tennessee here, right? And if he knew what to expect and he was trying to swim in those waters, he would have more chances of surviving that swim than just these Russian guys who may have never experienced that. They grew up in the city, who knows? And this German officer, this Gestapo guy, because they don't know what to expect. They're like, oh my God, this is fucking freezing. But he got over that when he was like 3 or 4 or 5 years old. You are just now experiencing that, and that's why you're only able to go in there for like a minute tops.
Yeah. Yeah,
You
it's
know?
like if someone were to jump, it's like someone who lives in Maine and jumped in the Arctic overflow when it comes down versus my fucking white ass jumping in there and like, freezing
Sure.
to death. Like I'd scream like a little girl. So
Right, and because you don't know what to expect, you don't know how to handle it. And in cold water, like what I've experienced is you got to control your breathing. Because your body wants to go into a shit panic mode and it's going to go and gasp. But if you control your breathing and you just kind of, again, like Brian said, mind over matter to an extent, you do that so many times, like you can actually, you know what to expect and you can actually do that, right? There's people that do that all the time. They go and the first thing they do when they wake up in the morning is go do a cold plunge, which is like 34 degrees. It's barely above freezing and they go in there and they just fucking do it for a few minutes. They're not moving like he was.
Okay,
He
Joe
was
Rogan.
swimming.
Yeah.
Well,
I was
he
waiting for the Wim
popularized
Hof
that shit.
name drop.
You're right.
Yeah,
Well, he does
it's
a lot of
been
ice
going on-
plunges and stuff. So
Well, right up here, like they do the polar plunge every year. Like you go to any kind of like big lake around here.
they do that here in
They'll-
Maryland, yeah.
Yep, they'll saw a fucking
When it's
hole
cold
in the
enough.
18-inch, 2 feet thick ice, and they'll be like, "Yep, go jump in that fucking water."
just don't
And
forget your
people
car
do it.
battery.
Oh yeah, don't forget my goddamn car battery. You forget your goddamn car battery, and it ain't gonna be a good one. It ain't gonna be a good day for anyone.
When we started talking about the SS guy going into the water, we kind of skipped over another thing I wanted to bring up, guys. If we can go back to, they mention when he first meets, he's taken into that boat by those children, and he's speaking to the daughters. I'm sorry, and he's talking to the mother, and the mother was trying to confirm where he said he came from and where he was. I can't really pronounce the names. It was
It's like no
Rebbenesoya.
one's ever done
Nobody
that.
can.
Or something. Like, yeah.
So while I was watching the movie, I actually Googled those two locations, and it came down to being 17 hours and 21 minutes by car. So I don't know how accurate that was. If that's truth in this story.
Well, it's a fjord, so they probably had to go way around.
That's
I
yeah.
guess.
It's hard to judge the roads, but I mean, you could say it's at least probably an hour swim.
As the crow flies, it's whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's just the start of this whole thing that this guy goes through. So he went through that initially, and then obviously it just becomes a dumpster fire after that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I mean, there's so many people would have never made it past that point,
Right. And that's kind of what I was talking about. Like, maybe he was used to it. Maybe he just had the ambition, the fucking will, and adrenaline. But like, that only lasts so long,
Yeah.
It's like Jesus. Like, swimming through a fjord, even if it's an hour swim, it's still an hour where you're in fucking water that's constantly sucking heat out of you.
Right.
And your body can only do so much. And he wasn't well fed. Probably not hydrated, and salt water sucks the hydration out of you.
Right. He lost his
Yeah.
toe.
Just being in it.
Yeah, lost his toe. Yeah.
It's like, God, I hate the movie, but the movie The Perfect Storm. You know, in the end where they end up in the water.
I don't watch
The
that.
guy's like-
I don't watch that movie.
I've never seen that.
I don't.
Never
The
seen it
ending's
either.
actually good.
I
'cause
can
it makes you
never.
feel
I
like how
can never.
small
I
you
can
are.
never watch that movie because
I know why Nath can't
Yeah.
watch it. but-
Yeah. It's a no.
It's-
Because Nate's a sailor.
Yeah.
But you know,
Oh.
you think about that, and it's like you end up in the water without a survival suit or something. You have like 5 minutes. You know, like when you watch the Deadliest Catch shows too, they're like,
Yeah,
"Man,
oh,
overboard,
those
you're
guys.
going to drown." And meanwhile, like you know, this guy probably spent at least an hour in those same temperatures, in the 40s, with soaked wool.
Yeah, I was just gonna say soaked wool.
So what if we
Dry
put a,
suits didn't exist yet.
what if we put a
wetsuits?
spin on this story? Like you had mentioned that there were 8 basically fishermen along with the SOE operatives. What if this was just him like beating himself up over the course of 60 days because he felt guilty that those innocent guys got killed? This is like
It's
his
like a
penance.
reverse Gabby Petito story.
Yeah.
He's like running from his trauma. It's like, fuck. Well, and in the process, I made sure that more people would have to rely on me so that they would become, entrapped too and get
Right.
caught and killed.
He's just
Perfect.
he's
It's like Gone Girl, but World War II.
Oh my
like-
god.
It's like that religion where they like whip themselves and stuff, but he lost his whip, so he had to.
Flagellants or whatever.
Yeah.
Give me your cat eye. or
Self-flagellation is a
Nine
good thing.
tails.
Just a thought.
I did like this like Hodor character fucking like giving him a ride.
Where
onto
he
the-
picks him up and carries him.
Hodor character. Jesus Christ.
That was
It's a great archetype. That's a great way to describe that archetype. I like that.
I love the way that he holds him too.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, what? He's gonna stand on his shoulders? He's like, no, horizontal.
Yeah.
Fireman carry your ass. Like
He does a really good job. I was waiting for like the
Yep.
take where he falls in or something,
Oh yeah, when he falls in and they lose an hour of production because they got to get fucking dry clothes for the
Right,
guy,
right,
and they're
right.
20 minutes
Yeah,
down the
yeah.
road. And
Yeah.
yeah.
Like
That's the shit you don't see in movies.
don't fuck it up,
oh, his fucking hat is so bad.
We had something like that. We had something like that on our film when we did Reveille. We had this very complex scene. It was an ambush scene. We didn't have a lot of time to film it, and we had squibs that we were using. And we only had 3 takes because we only had 3 uniforms we could use. So we do one take, and we want to do it again. So So it takes like 30 minutes because we got to take uniform off. And we're rushing because we want to use our time. So we get it all ready to go. We get the guy rigged with a squib. We get his uniform on. We're all set. 1, 2, 3. We're gonna say action. We walk through the scene a little bit, and the guy like shuffles his MP40 a little bit on his shoulder, and he hits the trigger for the squib.
Sets the squibs off. Yeah.
He sends the squib off and paints everybody around him with fake blood. But not only that, we're looking at each other like we just lost 30 minutes. So it's like fucking. We couldn't even have time to laugh or get mad because we're like, fuck. So
Yeah,
we
we're
had
just like,
to-
fuck.
we were
Okay,
ripping
let's
this guy's
do it.
uniform off again, like literally, and like fuck. And then we were so careful we did it the 3rd time. But it's the stupid shit like that in films where you're just like, oh well, fuck.
Yeah.
That's an hour.
Yeah.
Shit.
Oh, easily. Yeah, and God, his hat's bad too. Like, oh fucking Christ.
No one can ever get like visor caps
Crushers-
right in movies. Yeah.
Crushers are
Dude,
hard.
I know where to get them. Where they look great. Like even the army one. This guy, the colonel, he looks like that hat just looks so shitty.
I felt so bad for this Kubel when he kept slamming the inside of it like multiple times. That's a nicely restored Kubel, by the way. That's probably like $80,000 to
That's a
$100,000
nice one,
vehicle.
Are you talking about when
Yeah.
he's like slamming and like punching?
Yeah,
the
there's one scene where he's
inside?
like, and I'm like, dude,
stop!
the
That's a
Speedo was-
$70,000 vehicle.
no. The speedometer is $5,000. You're an actor, and you don't know that when you break that little piece of glass,
Right?
1, you can't find it, and 2, that's $5,000. Like fucking.
See, that was something like we're not going to tell the owner about that. It's just the movie will already be
Until he
out.
saw the fucking movie.
Well, that's it. The
Horror
movie will be
jumps in,
out by the time he figures it out.
They sent
Yeah,
him a
exactly,
copy of
right.
it with that part edited out.
Yeah, right.
There's a
Thank you
great
for your
story.
Kubel.
There's a great story. This has nothing to do with this movie, but there's a great story where I forgot what the actor's name was on the show Battlestar Galactica. They had a model, one of those old wooden ships. You know this one, Brian?
You mentioned it before. Yeah, it's pretty funny.
brought on, and it was like an old, like one of a kind ship that was worth like hundreds of thousands of dollars. And the guy on the set, he was so into the moment, and he grabbed the ship and like ripped it to pieces and everything like that.
Isn't it the same thing with like Kurt Russell? Didn't he smash that like
With the-
$60,000 Gibson? On,
Yeah,
Hateful
Oh,
Eight
that's
or
right.
whatever.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
Tarantino knew about that actually, but because I forgot what the actress's name was, because when she freaked out in that scene, like that was her legitimate reaction, and that's what he wanted. Like Kurt Russell thought it was going to be a fake guitar, but it wasn't. It was a real one. Yeah,
But it's like, again, bring it back to like Revelate. Like we that one scene where Laddie's going down to search the Germans.
yeah.
They grabbed the K98, and I was sitting there. I was like right off camera, and I'm like, okay, cool. Oh wow, this is going pretty neat. It looks real. And he just like throws the K98, and I'm like, ah! But I stifled everything in my body. I was just like covered my mouth. I'm like, and it didn't break or anything. And I'm like, fuck. Because Yoni was using, Halbrock was using the SS one, like the Death's Head,
Oh,
like the
yeah.
really expensive one. And
Oh,
the
he used my
actress-
single rune? I forgot about
Yeah,
that.
he used a single
Oh,
rune.
that's
He used-
funny.
and he just threw it. Like in real life, you would just throw it. Like, yeah, I get that, but I'm like, oh. And I'm like,
That's just like a $1,500 rifle, man.
yeah, no big deal.
Aim for the tree.
Didn't it also have the bayonet attached to it?
Yes.
Yes, it
did,
did.
it
And I was like, I don't care about the bayonet because that was mine. And it's like, okay, I get one for $150. No big deal. But like the rifle itself, like the stock and everything, I was like,
I really like these back in Berlin shots though too.
yeah, they're definitely very clean compared to the rest of the film.
Oh yes.
And I like how the one guy's drinking like tea or coffee and the other guy's just slamming booze.
Yeah.
Like just fucking, yeah.
Hey, you can see him. Good morning to you too.
Yeah. It's like that is one of the things that I love about we'll get to it one day, but Valkyrie, it's just like that's another set of prop
Yes.
department that just makes me go, "Oh, man, that's so cool."
It's been a while since I've watched that one.
I watched it recently. It's interesting.
I hate the tanks in the beginning.
Yeah.
The M60s, but
Aren't-
the Panzer IV.
Aren't they like fake too? Aren't they like
Yeah,
not-
they're only like twice the distance they should be in every single angle. Like,
Yeah.
It's like we took a Jeep, but to represent the Jeep, we took a Hummer. Like that's like the literally proportion differences.
I haven't seen that since it came out.
Oh,
Jesus.
this fucking scene, yeah, where he's like doing the typical like the whole Gestapo like creepy officer thing. and,
Right.
like,
This is where I was like, okay, like again, like don't even have this part of the movie. Like don't even have this
Right.
villain character.
This was why I just detracted from it. And like when his fucking Nazi pin was the reason.
It's
that,
so
like, he didn't-
stupid.
it's
Yeah.
the party pin. It's like it's also way too fucking big, by the way.
They had
Let's
different
just-
sizes, but I know what you mean. That's
Yeah,
a very.
it's-
And they were
yeah, I
mostly
mean, like,
tie
pins.
pins. Yeah.
because here's the thing: is like a lot of the guys in the Gestapo, they didn't have to wear that because they were assumed to be party members, right? That one is the most massive fucking party pin I've ever
But
seen.
how else are you gonna see it, Mike? I mean, come
Yeah,
on.
it's they want to make
Well,
it.
no, that's fair, but like also popping his car like he's in the
size
fucking
of a
80s,
fucking
like doing
quarter.
a fucking
Mike,
Rick Astley
Mike,
video. Like, what are we doing here?
he's Gestapo, so you always have daddy leather coat on you, and you always have to pop the collar because how else are you gonna know that you're fucking villainy?
Okay.
Oh, this scene too, yeah.
no,
where he's like
fucking-
looking back
What you
dramatically.
thinking
Are
out
you
about,
ready?
Brian?
Are you ready to laugh?
Yeah.
I just remembered this.
What's up?
You know what this reminds me of? This is the prequel to Dead Snow.
Oh my god!
God.
Why?
That
And I
that's-
remember
that's
that.
The zombie main
That's
SS
the zombie.
guy.
Yeah.
from like 15 years ago at this point.
Yes, but
I haven't thought about that
the
movie
fact he's
in
wearing the
forever.
leather jacket and everything.
Yeah.
They're in Norway.
the
and I'm
shitty,
just
shitty
like,
repro hat that was made in
they're-
Pakistan.
they're going after like resistance members, and I'm like,
Well,
this is
this
the
scene,
prequel.
too.
to
Okay,
fucking
so with
Dead
the plane,
Snow.
right?
That's funny.
Okay, so yeah, this
mean-
is the plane avalanche scene for if people are following
Also,
along.
a fucking. I'm pretty sure it's an HU 111, right?
That's an 88.
Correct me if I'm wrong.
It-
That's a
actually,
JU 88.
it's an 88. It's actually a really nice modeled one, 3G by the way. I was actually very surprised because not a lot of
So
people
they
know about
had
the 88s.
forward-facing machine guns.
Yeah,
yeah,
Oh,
the 111s, the 111s did too. Yeah, it's definitely an
one
88.
MG34, as far as I know, right?
Yeah, it spins. So I don't know if the pilot could use it on an 88, but that's definitely an 88.
And then the avalanche.
I just
It's
like you could have done the avalanche without the plane. Like we didn't need the plane. Like that. That's my. It's cool. It's cool.
All you
and
need him
he-
is coughing hard and it could trigger a fucking avalanche.
Right, yeah,
It's
like
yeah.
we didn't need the plane hunting down
A
the
voluptuous
skier.
fart.
Yeah,
You know?
yeah.
Yeah, that'd be great if you just sat there. You just sat there and like had like a fucking Hector Salamanca moment where you just looked at the camera. It was just like it blew a fucking massive fart, and all of a sudden an avalanche falls down. And
Could happen.
Oh, yeah. So okay, this is where I stop believing this shit, because it's like when you're that fucking cold and you have no like actual proper winter clothing. Yeah, so he's got the blood pressure spike in his eyes. He's got the blood in his eyes. I mean, at this point, you're done.
Ah!
Yeah, the nail. When I saw his eyes
Yeah,
like
that part,
I was thinking
I winced at that.
it looked like 28 Days Later, the zombie movie.
Oh yeah, he's got the rage.
Yeah. See, vomiting.
So Brian,
Yeah.
like you've seen people that are in this condition. How long
I mean,
are they going to last with zero medical attention?
I don't know if I've exactly seen somebody get hit by an avalanche before, but
No, but like,
We were 25 miles outside of Barstow when it came.
I've maybe seen somebody that had one red eye, but I don't think
Yeah.
anything like that. I've never seen somebody bite off their own fingernail shortly after and then vomit. Which actually, what do you think the vomit was from? You think that was like a concussion or something, or do you think that's
Must
because
be.
he bit his own
Had to have been.
fingernail and he got a taste of it and he just vomited up?
or he's too fucking cold. Like, oh, nice repro helmets, by the way. These helmets are horse shit. The whole fucking film, their helmets are dog shit.
Okay, I wanna ask then, like, I wanna know about the uniform stuff. So
The uniforms, I'm glad they actually had Luftwaffe insignia on the pilot, and not like Army or SS insignia.
I was looking at people running around in the snow and the weather and looking for slips on hobnails. I've been looking for that the whole entire movie.
Well, you're not going to see that. Nice repro ill-fitting fucking helmets, by the way.
they're gonna like pull down over their eyes so many
Well,
times.
no, here's the thing is, they're all M42, or most of them are M42, like the shitty repros with the fucking harsh angles. Dude, okay, yeah, it's 1943 in fucking Norway. They're not going to be issuing the newest fucking M42s to these guys. These guys are going to have M35s and M40s at best.
It was all garrison troops, yeah.
Yeah, it's like they're going to have the old school shit. Like, they're not going to have the modern shit that. But all the helmets are just awful. Like, okay, this guy's got two fucking eyes that, like,
You're so right. It is rage.
Yeah, see?
when you pop that many blood vessels in your eyes, it's like fucking overwhelming it. You're in a bad spot physically.
Yeah,
this
is not good.
Yeah,
not
really
good.
bad. Like, you might be able to crawl like this for a bit, then you're just gonna kind of roll over, especially in the cold.
Yeah.
I
And if he
will-
was vomiting because of a concussion, I mean, you could have a head bleed. And there could be all sorts of stuff going on.
Right. I mean, there's so many
Ruptured
things. It's like,
spleen.
Yeah.
yeah, let's climb over this other obstacle here.
So from what I'm hearing, it's the depiction of the injuries that you're having a beef with, not the fact that someone could survive this.
It's both.
Okay. Because you say that, but then there's always someone who does, who beats the odds.
but
People
like,
live through
look at the
avalanches a
clothing
lot.
he has on. This is, and also he's wet, by the way. He was wet when he jumped off the ship. Okay, he's still wet because when it's freezing cold like that, you never dry off unless you're near a fire or like in a dry spot for like 12 fucking hours, right? That has not been the case for him.
I mean, he's been drying off at houses to houses, but yeah, I hear your point.
No, he's still, and so you've got one layer of wool on over cotton, okay? A thin layer of wool. You got a uniform on. In that environment, Brian, correct me if I'm wrong, but if you are wet and you're in that amount of freezing cold, you are FUC to the KED.
Yeah, most likely.
Like you're fucked.
You're asking me, right?
Unless you get in there and dry everything off and warm up your core, you're fucked.
He wouldn't ask the original Brian for that. he knows better.
He's a hardy, or Wisconsinite. He doesn't ask New Englanders for cold tips.
I do not.
It's like, Brian, what do you do when it gets 50 degrees? Rub Vaseline on your nipples? That's like fucking how Mike talks about cold out here.
Well, Vaseline will make you chafe. Ask me how I know.
Oh.
But like,
No.
yeah, it's so Brian Rao. I should.
I figured.
Two Brians, two Mikes.
I figured.
Jesus, but like, no, in that kind of cold environment, especially when you're in snow and it's that cold and you're wet. I mean, yeah, right here, that's about as far as you're gonna get.
Well, another thing to bring up too is with the condition of his eyes like that, and the cold
Yeah.
that's hitting his eyes. Like, how does he even know where the hell he's going?
Oh, I mean, they do. I mean, they did talk about that with like his eyes being fucked up. This is when he starts hallucinating and doing all the hallucinations. This is when the movie, again, I think I said earlier, is when the movie steps up in terms of survival and in terms of survival narrative, and also I think cinematography and editing.
There are but this aspect of like, you know, survival. The movie Jungle with Daniel Radcliffe does some scenes where he's like hallucinating and
I've never seen that.
Yeah, and he's like, it's almost like two personalities at that point.
Yeah, but here's the thing: is by the time you're hallucinating, you're tripping balls. Like,
but I like
that's
how
your
they do
body
that.
shutting down.
What are those, Brian?
Horches.
They're what?
That's a horch. That's a horch.
What is a horch? Describe a horch.
A horch is a German company that made a troop truck that holds 10 troops. That is that vehicle. They're like a bigger, rounder weapons carrier.
Is it kind of like it's kind of like what a deuce and a half, or sorry, what a weapons carrier would be for a Jeep in the American Army?
As I just said, it's like a bigger, rounder weapons carrier. It's a horch. Yeah, they're very common.
Giving context to your comment there.
It's in between. It's like
douche.
Kruppwagen's too small, but Opel Blitz is too big, so you get a horch.
There you go.
So okay,
There you go.
tell me how come this guy has this like black uniform? What that?
He's an
black-
auxiliary.
So
Because
Yeah,
he
that
is
was-
part of the SS.
well, yeah,
He looks like a
auxiliary
rat.
SS,
Yeah.
like
Okay.
the Norwegian.
Yeah.
It's basically like the Ukrainians and like every country they went into, they had like auxiliary troops,
Okay.
and that's I don't know because I'm not an expert on this at all.
I just know that like the one stupid shoulder board is correct. Like,
Well, like, I
that
mean-
stupid shit is like.
yeah.
I know
Not
he has
wrong.
like Totenkopf and some like SS stuff, but I wasn't sure if that because he says like this guy's Norwegian right here. I wasn't sure if that's like
Yeah.
is that like a Norwegian policeman or something like
Kind
Well,
of.
but he's under the employment and the watchful eye of the SS. Like he's volunteered with the
There-
Germans, and yeah.
There's a guy on YouTube, Mark Felton Productions, who's got
Yep.
really
Yeah,
really
Mark
good
Felton's
videos,
great.
and he goes into a lot of detail for like the Third Reich's political structure that A, I don't give a shit about, and B, I don't give a shit about. But like it is interesting in a way where you can see how they would have occupied or like worked in these occupied territories.
Yeah.
But there definitely was like a wing, and it is correct in a sense that there was like a Gestapo in every country that had auxiliaries like this that would do the bidding of like the Third Reich in Berlin. You know, like it's overplayed, but there were organizations like this.
Nate, can you back it up a minute or so when he looks at the insignia on his sleeve?
They got the SS runes, and
But-
then he's got the.
Well, he's got the really big eagle. I know what you're talking about.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, like what is
it's
that?
the Nordic
the-
eagle, though.
That's the NSKK eagle. I'm pretty
Oh,
sure.
okay. Huh. That's
Also,
what I
a
wanted to ask.
fucking low ready carry in the back. Which
Yeah,
Well,
that's
yeah,
really
I mean,
annoying.
They all are
Yeah.
doing that. Yeah.
Fun stuff.
It's gonna take a while before movies stop doing that.
I don't think it's ever.
no,
gonna
it's never
fucking-
gonna stop. That's the problem.
Unless they do what we did and then hire people that
That's
you
what I
know,
mean.
don't have a modern training set or mindset. You know,
That's what I mean. Yeah.
Yeah.
like
Again, the
Yeah.
popped collar. Are we in a Rick Astley fucking video?
It's also snowing though, Mike. I mean, come on.
Oh fuck
Oh,
that!
you fuck that. God, not everyone's from Wisconsin. We don't want snow down our necks.
They're from Norway. They should be better.
don't put your fucking hands in your pockets. It's snowing. Don't put your fucking hands in your pockets.
Well,
Yeah, that right there. See his eagle?
yeah, okay.
what-
so he's got
with
the SS runes
That-
on the
he-
right shoulder.
I think that's the NSKK. eagle
Yeah,
on
with the-
right,
with the-
which
with
maybe he's
the-
NSKK. The
has
the
the-
big stupid looking one with the cross.
Yeah, the cross and the down
Yeah,
below.
I'm pretty sure NSKK was this German like transport organization that was around during the war.
Yeah, I don't know his uniform.
They
at
have
all.
special helmets that look really cool. The National
it's-
Socialist Motorist Corps. So
Core. He's basically like a fucking like the Ukrainians and the Hungarians did a lot of this kind of shit too, where they would just like, hey, how can I be employed? Oh, you're a policeman now, and they'd give him like some bullshit uniform and say, oh
Well,
yeah, you're part of us.
we had touched on this with the Landwehr, in a way, with the Grand Illusion. So this is it's just like a Norwegian, Nazi Quisling organization, like that. So
Well, by this time it's weird because like they would have had. So, not to get too far off on a tangent, but like at this point they would have had Norwegian quote unquote volunteers for the SS, like the 5th SS division, the Viking division.
Well, the Viking and Nord, those are the two.
Yeah, yeah,
I
and
think more of these guys went to Nord than Viking. I forget, where did Viking recruit? I'm not sure.
Viking was Norway.
Norway.
Yep. Yeah,
Yep.
definitely. And they had a lot of people at first, and then it was just like, whatever. And so this guy probably didn't want to do that, but he volunteered to be like you said, kind of like a police. What do you think, Brian R?
Yeah, that I don't know too much about it, honestly.
Yeah,
But sounds
me
good.
either.
I like the logic behind it.
I agree.
I concur.
Yep. No, that's the thing is I don't know jack shit about the uniform, so I don't know if it's right or wrong, but
Yeah, I'm not
It's
spot on with that stuff.
That's okay. So yes, the 5th Viking was recruited from the Scandinavian countries, and then in mid 43 they took a regiment from the 5th and they turned it into the 11th Nordland. Yeah, and it was mostly a Swedish unit or Swedish regiment that they actually built the Nordland unit off of. So they're both connected. Interesting. But yeah, you a lot of these guys, like
God,
a
those
lot of the
helmets
Western,
are bad. Sorry.
like a lot of the Western
Yeah.
Europeans, they joined the SS and things to fight against communism and things, and when they
I-
ended up at St. Petersburg, it didn't go well.
so the physical strength it takes to walk through that much fucking snow or run through that much snow is literally fucking insane. And
Anything over
Yeah,
your
I don't know.
ankles is crazy.
I did like this right here when he just comes in, just immediately just sucks down whatever food is in front of him. He just
Come on.
and then just fucking collapses.
Yeah,
yeah, he's just
done.
complete instinct.
Well, I love it how she's just like, you got to eat one more bite, and here comes this fucking wild frozen man sucking up all of his food. Like,
It's
do
every
you
kid's
respond to
dream.
that?
Every kid's dream that didn't want to finish his vegetables, right? That some snow monster would come in through the door and finish them for him.
Snow monster.
Krampus!
if you don't finish your vegetables, fucking Jan from the wilderness is gonna come in and suck them off your table. Like,
Germany has Krampus, Norway has Jan.
A lot of sucking off tonight.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nobody's got to have some like snow creature man thing.
They have Santa Claus, man. They were tripping balls. and they
No,
fucking
those are the
saw it.
Finns. Santa Claus is Finland. That's
Okay.
he's in Lapland. That's a real thing.
They got the Yeti, I guess. I don't know.
That's a real thing.
With this wild fucking dude, like a basket case.
Yes.
Fuck.
That's a good point, Mike, though. You were talking about how hard it is to walk through that snow when it's that deep. And then
Dude,
this guy in
it's
this
fucking
shape
impossible.
is just kind of like stumbling in.
There is a Krampus from Norway, and I don't know if I want to say its name.
Say its name.
Jewel booking.
I love that shot, by the way. That's
That's a really grotesque shot.
yeah.
That's really
it's
fucked up.
so
Yeah.
it's so
It's-
effective.
It looks,
It's the Yuletide goat. Oh God.
The Yuletide goat.
Jewel booking. Oh, and
You
it was
guys wanna
big.
see a
It was
goat
big
right
in the
now? I'll
West.
show you a fucking goat.
It was brought to the U.S. by Scandinavians. Wow, it's like it's fucking Wisconsin history there, and you don't know shit about it. So
Yeah,
There's
because I'm not a fucking Swede or Norwegian. I
You're-
got a little bit in the blood here, but I'm not a fucking dumb Swede that come up.
you're
here
just a
and-
Yule buck, which is a slang term I just learned from Wikipedia. So thank you.
the
But
Yule
anyway,
buck.
You're a Yule buck. But anyway, yeah. So they do have a Krampus thing. It's interesting.
Well,
But-
they're yeah, so much influence. Like with the Nordic, like the Scandinavian countries and like Germany,
Yeah.
they had been so much in contact for so long. Like there's going to be some crossover.
There was one interesting thing they mentioned in this too that I didn't realize I had to look up. But towards the end of it, they mentioned that you can't trust a Sami or a Salmi, and I'd looked that up. Did you guys catch that reference at all, or?
I did not
No.
know the reference, but I saw it. Yeah.
It's this group of peoples that are the original inhabitants of northern Norway, Lapland, and the Murmansk Peninsula, and they've been there for millennia, and they're just the local populace. So they're different from the southern Scandinavians that are more European based.
Yep.
Like the Sami, they've been there forever, and they're known as Laplanders or Laps. That's known as a slang term. But yeah, they're just the northern, Scandinavian native tribe, and I didn't know that was a thing.
Basically, the fucking Canadians of Europe.
Yeah, but no, more like the Inuit of Europe, to be honest, because they have
Yeah.
They've been there for forever.
they've been there forever, and the Finns kind of have a history like that, but they've been, kind of fucked over by everybody. They're just like, they're reindeer. Family,
Soviet
don't give a
Union.
fuck.
A little bit.
Well,
Russia.
yeah, but before
Russia.
that, Swedes, everybody. But it's interesting that this people, the Sami, they've kind of, due to the Arctic Circle and shit, have kind of just existed and had their culture and everything. So just had no idea.
There's something I wanted to mention about this woman's Gudrun, I believe the character's name is. You can tell she's next to this guy. She's all about him. She really cares for him and everything, right?
I knew that right from the start. Yep.
Right. And then did you read the credits at the end of the film?
Yeah, I did. Yeah.
Where it says like, this guy, lived happily ever after, and Gudrun got married 20 years later.
20 years later.
So it's like, well, that's obviously
fuck?
saying like, she kind of waited around for this guy maybe to show up again, and she gave him 20 years and was just like, okay, I guess I'm gonna, Bjorn over here or whatever.
This is one of these movie things though, to where it's like you feel it right when it's like shows up. It's like, oh yeah, she's the love interest, or whatever. The close to.
But they never
love
pursued
interest.
it. They never made it retarded. Like
No.
They never fucking went on and like she banged him in a cold sweat fever that he was in and whatever. It's like
It's not
okay,
like Enemy
cool.
at the Gates. Like, oh god damn it.
Yeah, I kind of
Yeah.
feel like when they said it at the end, like she got married 20 years later, they could have played that game show music, that dun 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 dun. dun.
Price is Right.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
That's a fucking bummer, dude.
Yeah.
Price is wrong.
I was actually trying to find pictures of her online. I'm like, was she just like that bad looking that the guy's like, no.
Thank
I
you
mean,
for
I
saving
think
my
it was
life, but don't ever contact me
maybe,
again.
Yeah.
maybe the
Yeah,
story
yeah.
isn't as it says. I don't know. Maybe she was married in real life or something. Who knows?
Yeah, could be.
I tried to look
Yeah.
this up on IMDb and it's not. Or IMFDB and it's not on there.
Okay.
Oh, the movie?
Yeah, it's not on IMFDB yet.
Damn.
Well,
Yeah, but they actually did make them. Like there was a lot of them, so that's not unrealistic.
Well, I have
Nice
I-
low ready,
I-
bitch.
I have
Nice slow
I
ready.
have my fucking notes for the guns when we're ready.
So do I. Yeah.
Okay,
I know what Nate's gonna say first.
Do it. I'm ready to hear it.
Let's talk about the guns. Let's do it.
As we're here, so
It is not a Danish Madsen. It is a Portuguese or Chilean Madsen, but it's still fucking pimp to see it go full auto on that.
skip
boat.
to it. Let's start the end.
Yeah.
He's the one shooting it, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Jan? Yeah.
Oh, on the
Yeah.
boat?
Yeah.
Yep.
I was
It's,
going to
um,
ask you guys if you knew what that was.
It's not the Danish 1904. I think that's the model number, but it's the Chilean
Right before that. Yep.
Portuguese one.
Oh, good heaven.
There we go. So
Yeah.
So how I can
It's
tell
fire.
is that the Danish ones are longer, the front shots are longer, and then they don't have this flash cone hider, and the front sight is offset on the Danish ones. On the Chilean and the Portuguese ones are center.
Dude, he's shooting really far. He's got like at least
Yeah, he's shooting very
900
dead
to
on.
1,000
yeah.
meters.
But again, it's super cool to see a full auto Madsen in a movie like that.
So
They
Nate,
probably
yeah,
he wouldn't have that version of it then.
No, this is 1946 or 1949. They're small little similarities. I mean, the thing is that the real Danish Madsens they were sold off a lot to other countries and or they were repurposed to these,
Brazil.
or they were or confiscated or destroyed after Germany took them, and so they didn't really make them after the war. In the 1904 or the 1910 version. So mainly when the war started back up again, or when they started production again for the contracts for the Chilean and the Portuguese, they made them these models. And these are what you still see in the world today, mainly. And these are still in service. I think it's the longest running gun in service design. And they're still in Brazil with the police force. The police force still try to find them and contract them out.
Hey Hector, we gotta go clear out this favela.
Dude,
Grab
there's
the
some
Madsen.
there's some fucking cool ass street clearing videos of Brazilian police like taking out cartel people like with them.
They have the cut down one, or they, like you said, they have the short barreled ones.
they
so
have
look cool.
yeah.
as
Well,
fuck.
I almost
It's like FALs and these.
I almost got the I
Policing
almost got the
streets.
Dutch Indy short one, but it was too much for the time and it would have been a lot of paperwork. But the Dutch Indies one is super cool. It's like half the barrel length and the banana clip and the banana because they don't. It's not really a magazine. It's a hopper, and the hopper curves like
You could
an
see
extra
it. It's
45
kinda
degrees
sticking
in
out.
this one.
There's a really good post-war Indonesia Dutch movie we got to get to. I wonder if they have Matsens and shit on that. They probably will have to.
The first time I ever saw this the first time I ever saw this type of machine gun was in the scene from the original Thin Red Line where their Japanese troops are using it.
Yeah.
Well, that's not the worst stand-in for the
No,
60s. I'll give them
it's
that.
it's
Trying
not.
to-
They're not that bad. And again, like
Better
the
than Bren.
original Madsons are just very hard to find now. It would be I would fucking die to fucking find one that in the U.S., but they never imported them, and trying to find them is almost impossible if you don't want to pay like an arm and a leg. But
COVID took out a lot of boomers.
yeah, we'll see. We'll see.
Still waiting for it. Still waiting for it.
Yeah.
All these people are like, oh, when the boomers die, we'll get cheap guns.
No,
Still
we'll just
waiting.
get rare guns and spend more money.
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm gonna take a piss. I'll be back.
Yeah.
Raj.
But that's the really cool thing about these designs is that a lot of people think they're magazine fed. They're not. They're hopper fed.
Yeah, well, because it feeds from a little well on the side.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's actually a semi-automatic rifle, designed originally that they
Oh
turned
yes,
into a
yes.
machine gun.
Yeah. And it's
I was just gonna say that kind of makes sense because it's like a rifle, like
yeah.
grip. It's
What
not
it
like
what
a-
it what it is, it literally comes down and it's literally like a little like it's almost like I hate to use the thing, but
It's like the TED 96. Very similar.
yeah.
hopper-fed design.
It's like a part moves and grabs the shell and pushes it down. So it's literally
There's a
just
cam.
Like, yeah,
There's a camming action off the bolt, and it rotates like on a turntable,
yeah.
and it just opens, closes, and the rounds will fall into the chamber. So
If-
it's like, kind of like away in a crag. Well, fucking Crag Jorgensen is fucking Norwegian. What am I saying? But yeah,
Yeah.
like it's the hopper
same
fed.
thing. The really cool thing about it is that they will oh, this won't play now. Great.
They kind of walk. It's like very,
Yeah, they well, like if you were to take that hopper out and push the spring back, the thing will just dump them all out. Yeah, they'll just go. They'll just fly right
Yeah.
down out. Yeah,
That's funny.
It's like if you it's like you push the button on a Garand, it does the same thing when it ejects the mag.
exactly. Yeah, you can dump
Nice.
all 30 rounds just by holding the little spring out and it just goes.
Yep.
But also to talk about, I guess, more guns in here. I mean, we had the Colt 45 like gun, which I don't know what that was, which is right there.
I
Mike
think it
seemed
was
to
a-
know.
Yeah,
It looked like a straight 1911, and knowing his past, it probably was a straight 1911.
considering
which would be
it
kind
came
of,
from the British contract.
yeah,
Scotland.
it's kind of strange
Yeah.
because S.O.E. was all about clandestine operations and ammunition and sourcing
Yeah.
of stuff. So
The only thing
I don't know.
the only thing I took note was that the MP40s were firing way too fast. Like the sound effects they were using for them, it was like
Oh yeah,
like, that's
they're
not-
not burp guns.
Oh,
No.
dude, that is so sexy. I don't care what you say. Oh, Madsons are sick. Oh my god, they're so cool. I don't know what it's mounted on though. I want to freeze that on the side there.
So to touch on something that Mike B said earlier. So yeah, the Norwegians in 1914 actually got the patent or the design for the 1911, and they made them in Norway, and they're called the Koningsberg 1914 Colt. And they were made for a few years, but not too heavily. I'm pretty sure they're 9mm instead of 45. Could be wrong,
I
but
thought they were 45, but I could be wrong too.
I can't
so.
remember, but anyway, in the Second World War, they had a few around. And they were more for like police and everything, and then the Germans started heavily making them toward the end of the war for occupation forces and things, and that's where most of the quote-unquote Koningsberg Colts come from. They look very much like a 1911, but they have different markings in their Parkerite or their phosphate finished, if I remember correctly. They look pretty cool.
So is that what he carries in this?
He could be carrying one, but it's 99% a straight 1911. But I'm trying to say that there were Norwegian 1911s around in Norway this time. So
I'm looking
it's
this
really
up.
hard to say.
It was 45. Yep.
Wait a minute.
It was 45. Okay, yeah.
Yep.
This film was either the film was flipped or those are not real. Those are weird MP40s.
Because they got it's on the other side. That's a
Yep.
that's a
Oh!
mirrored shot.
That's
yeah.
a mirrored.
Oh, it is
shot.
mirrored because look at the helmet decal.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
noticed
Yep.
that while I was watching
So
it.
they filmed it. They filmed it the wrong way and then mirrored it.
And also, who in the whole chicken fried fuck put their fucking thumb where the fucking charging handle reciprocates?
He's about to learn not to do that.
You go
Yeah, over
learn
on the
today, but yeah,
over on the K98 too. You see the
that
watch the
fucking
bolt.
helmet is egregiously horseshit.
I like seeing the E-boat, but they would have just fucking destroyed that thing from, 20mm and shit.
Yeah, those MP40s.
what-
Also, they're not going to be standing up if they're taking fire. They're not just going to be standing up.
Why are they not Kriegsmarine troops? Again, like
Well-
I'm getting these fucking Guns of Navarone vibes because this exact same thing happens. except,
Right.
You know.
Yeah,
They
they're not
destroy the
Kriegsmarine, but they're army troops on a fucking
Lower
ship. It's like-
yourselves.
We're coming aboard. And Gregory Peck is acting like he's speaking Greek.
did you guys get into the sniper rifle yet?
No, not yet.
No.
We just were talking about. We talked about Madsen.
There's no IMFDB, so
Yeah.
we're just jumping
we
around.
talked about.
Oh, there's no IMFTB?
Nope.
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 I already tried
Whatsoever?
it.
Nope, not so ever.
I tried it, yeah.
We've talked about MP40, the 1911s, the Madsens, and
The K98s are good, so we can just gloss
Yeah.
over that. So
It's hard to fuck those up.
the Luger. The Luger looked
Oh!
okay.
Wait a second. There's one scene where towards the end, so towards the sniper scene, Nate, go to
Oh,
the
are you
end.
talking about the Norwegian reindeer farmer, dude?
The fucking Danish
Yeah.
1889
Yeah,
Craig.
that looked like. a
Okay, yeah, I was
Danish-
gonna ask
yeah.
what that was.
Yeah, that was
Because I have one of those fuckers,
Yeah.
and I'm like, I was like looking at it, I'm like, is that a Norwegian Craig? No, it's not.
No.
It is a fucking Danish 1889
How do you tell the
Craig.
difference?
The front, the muzzle tip, the muzzle top.
Well, and the fucking
trying
the
to-
rear
I'm
sight
trying to get
sticks out
close of
way far on the sides.
yeah,
Like,
they
for a
kind of have
1889.
like the same thing that the G41 has. They have like a dildo muzzle. So
Yes,
it's like
I got you.
yeah.
it kind of is.
The original
Did you notice that?
dildos are-
Brian R. Did you notice that, Craig?
Yeah, I noticed it. I wasn't sure what rifle it was though.
Yeah, it's an 1889 Danish Craig.
I like to see the
um,
Craigs, but I'm saddened to hear that the wrong.
Yeah, well, no,
one.
it's not unrealistic. Like that guy could have gotten that.
The
somehow,
Danish and the
maybe.
Norway Craigs intermix so much.
Fucking towers, by the way, are so stupid.
Well, and the fucking the windmill of peace painted on them. You know, like
the
dude, if you-
windmill
if you
of
put a-
peace.
if you put a fucking tower up
You
in
know-
the middle of bumfuck Norway, you're not going to paint a fucking peace windmill on there.
But-
You know what my
but we
grandmother
have-
called it?
What?
She grew up
What?
in Germany. They just call it the Hockenkreuz, which means crooked cross.
Yeah.
So it means
it's
hooked.
like a-
It means hooked cross.
Yeah, it's
Hakenkreuz?
fucking hooked cross. Yeah.
Yeah, hooked,
I,
hooked
I
cross.
will say they did a really good job of making him look very gaunt.
Yeah.
Oh,
He's
yeah.
shitty looking.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, that aspect of it was great. Like I said, most of the survival stuff I thought was pretty, for the most part, well done. But
Oh, shitty fucking hell.
Yeah.
Oh my god,
Also-
the chin strap. Oh god.
So watch.
Artillery binoculars.
Yeah, look at the optics he needs to see what's going on, and then he goes over to the
Oh,
ZF41,
this is a very good point.
Yep. Yep.
and the ZF41's like 1.5 mag or something on the scope. It's like,
You're
come
right.
on.
He is going from like an 8x scope like
Yeah.
viewport to like
a
a
lot
1.
bigger than
Shitty
8 by.
Repro
Those are
helmet
10 by
is-
25.
10 by
They're actually
25.
bigger than 10 by 25.
jeez.
Those are
Yeah, so just go to the
Those are made for, like,
just play it,
fucking-
but, like
ranging in flak rounds for B-17s at like 40,000 feet. Those things they're angled for a reason because you look
Okay.
up.
but they had the
Okay.
prop.
Fucking,
Yeah.
yeah, exactly.
front.
Right?
It looks awesome.
they had-
Even
Yeah.
with the tower shot that you guys were talking about, when you can see all the reindeer running in the background. Have you guys looked? Yeah, have you guys looked?
Sorry,
through
I
it?
just
There we go.
it just
There
hit
we
me.
go.
It just hit me with what you meant.
AZ bolt.
Nope.
Yeah.
Nope.
Also, look at the fucking bolt handle.
I could, AZ bolt.
Is
I
that a
could talk a lot.
3340?
I could talk a lot about the, how horrible the ZF41 is, but Brian
But
is,
Nate,
is
Nate,
you
go
are,
back- what
I'd
the
say, the bigger
fucking-
expert on
there
the
we
matter.
go.
You can talk about how
Okay.
great that
I have
is.
a repo one because I don't like them.
I held the build one, but
It's like
Yeah.
So
sawed in
Brian,
half.
before you get into the optics part of it, which I know it's going to be awesome, why the fucking 3/4 bolt handle on this particular K98?
Because the prop department messed up.
It's like spray
Okay.
painted black too.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, it's.
I don't understand the
not good.
cut though in it.
Yeah.
it's an AZ bolt.
As I said, 3/4.
That's what we're talking about.
Yeah,
That's what
it's
we're
it's
talking about.
probably just a put together. It's probably got the same as mine, just like a Numrich scope on it with the. It probably doesn't even have the right rail off the rear sight for the
the
ZF41.
adapter probably.
Well, let's
Yeah.
see. Nate, go a little bit forward so you can see more of like the.
It is a
actual-
ZF41 though.
I don't know if they show it. Yeah, I mean, yeah, you don't see it from the other side. You'd have to see
Well,
it
no,
like.
back it up just like
I just-
20
I
seconds
did.
or some shit,
Yeah.
Nate.
The other back it up.
There you go.
eh.
That's the best you're gonna get, but like
You see it from the wrong side, that's why. But
But even when you look at that, when they show the magnification, when he's looking through, it's like, I don't know, it's it's just over eyesight basically. And look how far away they are.
yeah,
And
It's a 1.5 magnification.
Yeah.
so you
Yeah,
can't
There's
see
no
dick.
way it'd be that close.
no. If you go back to that shot too, where you guys were talking about the tower, and you could see the reindeer running in the background, like you can kind of see. Look how far out they are.
That's
So
at least 200 meters.
yeah,
At
for
least.
sure.
He'd be using an 8 power.
Maybe an 8
further
power
than
would
two,
get you
but-
somewhat to that distance.
Right, right.
Maybe, but
No, you're so right. But that's why, like, I hate how it just the whole film is just like you expect, occupation of Europe to be like this. Well, this is what we're gonna give you, and it's
And
like,
that the guy with the leather jacket, the Gestapo guy, is a Nazi. Like he's like the quintessential like guy that you think of this hardcore, cold-blooded fucking.
he's the guy that
ruthless-
wears the peace windmill. That's how much of a Nazi he is.
the windmill of peace.
I
sorry.
love that. I love that description. I've never heard that before. It's so funny.
You would think if you had a scoped rifle up in that tower, it just would be a little bit more substantial.
At
For
least
what
a
you-
Right. So
4x.
okay.
Yeah, at
so
least.
Brian, let's do a hypothetical. If you were in charge of the Germans in this region, and you gave a guy an optic on his fucking rifle, you had a fucking sniper. We'll say I call him marksman, but like, what would he be equipped with ideally in this situation?
Probably an AJAC on a high turret mount or
Explain
a low turret.
that.
Well, it'd be a 4x90. So it'd have a wide objective. It'd let in a bunch of light and stuff, and it just would have a better sight picture. Obviously, 4 being the magnification, so it's going to be a lot more than the 1.5 on the ZF-41. It was a much more solid platform. There's a lot of guys that, from what I've read, back then did not like that rifle with the ZF-41. So I don't know if this is, obviously this is a movie, but it's a supply chain issues or something maybe. Maybe they couldn't get the more purpose-built rifles up there. I don't know. It just doesn't make sense to me.
But like, if they had a ZF-41 up there, you would think that they could have access to the scope that you were just talking about.
Yeah, you would.
So either all or nothing in this situation, I would think.
Right,
As far as like supply chains.
Yeah.
And also,
There it is.
at 200. Oh, here it is, the 1889. Look at this. So pause that fucker. Yep. That is 100% of 1889. Let me see. Let me just make goddamn sure, because I'm pretty sure the Norwegian Craig.
The Norwegian Craig just doesn't have a dildo on the end of it. If I remember correctly.
No, it doesn't.
What do you mean, no, it doesn't? You mean that's not the only thing that's different with it?
No, I'm saying like, no, it doesn't. You're correct.
Oh, yeah,
Like,
yeah.
So I'm gonna post this. I can just post this in the fucking chat on StreamYard, private chat. The link.
And just to
Look how
jump
terrible
off
he
what
looks.
Brian said, though, I know, right?
It's not working.
The whole sniping stuff with the ZF-41, yeah, they were shit, and guys didn't like them. And a lot of professional snipers were like, "This is for training, if anything."
Yeah.
But there's a really good story in I forget if it's Stuka's book or if it's Wacker's book, but one of the Eastern Front snipers. He mentions how they always had these armorers that were great, and at one point later in the war, they got a bunch of G43s in, and they got 10 ZF-41s. Anyway, long story short, this weapon master actually jerry-rigged 10 ZF-41s on G43s.
Really.
And the guy in his book says that the G43 was a really shitty sniper rifle. Like, it can't hold zero at all. It's a piece of shit. And the ZF-41 is a piece of shit fucking scope. But at 100 meters with a ZF-41 on a G43 is like fucking insane. He's like that. It's like got enough magnification and it's just good enough at like 100 200 meter range where you can really be effective with it. And it was very interesting to see him talking about this and using the rifle in a few different, instances. And it just goes to show, like, this scope was not made at all for this gun. But in this application, like, it actually does work.
I mean, I could
even though it's
see
a piece of
that.
shit.
That's more of like a DMR type thing, right?
Yeah. Well, that's what they said even with the ZF4s on the G43s. Like, if you're an Aachen and fucking you have a semi-automatic with a 4-power scope, you're going to fucking own your street.
Right.
If you're on the steppes of Russia, you get a vault action.
Yeah.
Like, certain applications, you're dead to rights.
That's an interesting. That's an interesting setup with the ZF-41. I've seen like reproduction mounts for G41s for ZF-41 scopes.
Okay, sorry.
Yeah.
I just looked back at the screen. I saw this ad.
I
I'm like,
can't.
what-
I can't help the ads that come up here. I can't.
what do you call it? Yeah, I'll have to get the name of the book. It's very interesting though how he talks about it. And Klaus Espenholt, if you know who he is or he was a Norwegian guy that he got arrested because he was selling MP44 parts internationally as antique motorcycle parts. But he had a really good website that went really in depth with it. And long story short, somebody sent him a ground dug ZF41 mount that was on a receiver of a G43 that got dug up in the east somewhere.
Oh, cool.
So it did actually happen twice, once in this account and once somebody found one. So like, it's neat. And I kind of want to put a ZF41 on my G43 now.
That would be cool.
Just to try that out. Yeah, fucking cool. So
even though we're talking about all the shittiness of that sniper scene, that was the one moment where I was thinking that maybe there was going to be some little bit of, humanity with some German character in the film. I thought maybe like when he's looking through the scope, instead of shooting him, he sees this helpless guy there and he decides to either miss or not shoot him or something like that. But they didn't do that. Right? Yeah, and I'm just the Germans get no like.
There was some biased Nordic propaganda through this film as well.
Nothing like Danger Close, where the dude runs in with those fucking VC and NVA dude, the women and stuff, and is like, I'm gonna go this way. In this movie, it's like, nope, shoot them all.
Yeah, I'm just like
The only good German's a dead one.
Right. That was the constantly annoying thing. That's what I mean. It's like this was like a 1960s like Nazi depiction, of yeah.
Yeah, it's a movie made for Norwegians about this guy, and it reminded me of Flame and Citron, which is like a movie that's made for Danish people about, look, we did have resistance, even though it's like the worst piece of shit ever. Like, it's just so bad.
We were talking before about how bad he looked at the end there with the reindeer.
Yeah.
If you could go to the spot where he like screams, I think it's like the pinnacle of his physical condition. Yeah, that right there. I mean, the guy has just been through the ringer at this point.
Yeah, this guy is fucked. Like, how he's still alive is literally a miracle. Like,
All right, so watch for this face, because the first thing it made me think of was Total Recall, when Arnold's face mask broke. Right there, right there.
right there, yeah.
And his eyes are coming out of his
Yeah.
Yeah.
2 weeks. 2 weeks.
What the fuck did I do wrong?
Sorry, a lot of
You
setup for it,
blabbed,
but
Quaid. You blabbed about
lot
Mars.
of setup for a joke, but a joke worth it. Thank you.
yeah, I mean, I just saw a lot of similarities there.
I do want to go back just to comment on what I thought was the best part of this whole movie. I think.
I know you're getting right to that. Yeah. So it's fine, but like the kind of like it's not. So like you guys, we've all had like a really bad fever at one point or another in our lives, right? Like, really bad.
Oh, I've had hallucinations from high fevers.
Yes, and
And
it's
sleep
like
deprivation. That's crazy too.
Yeah, that too. Yeah, I pulled a fucking fire alarm. I'm gonna Arco 15 one day into basic training because of that. But like, yes, that will go on the podcast, Nate. You can just throw that out.
I remember you told me that whole story.
No,
It's-
Oklahoma to keep it.
No Oklahoma. Yeah, keep it. But yeah, this. So yeah, when you're that stressed out, okay, plus you're sick, plus you got like nothing. This is totally fucking cool. And like, I was like, it's Inception within Inception within Inception
Yeah.
within Inception.
Dreams and dreams,
But
yeah.
that's how it goes, and it's really fucking insane. Like when you're at this point, and like you're also when you have the stress to it, that's what you exactly.
I don't
Yep.
I don't know if any of you guys know about the book or the movie. Sure you do. Johnny Got His Gun.
Sounds familiar.
Yeah, where it's a guy he's been seriously wounded and he's like in a hospital and he's going through all this stuff and he's at one point he's like, how can I tell when I'm awake and when I'm asleep?
Yes.
You know,
See,
he can't even differentiate the two.
That's the Metallica 1 video.
Yep. No, it is.
It is.
That's why they wrote that. It is
that
like in all
fucking-
seriousness, like it is because
That
yeah.
What
that
Mike?
song is ruined for me.
Oh, is it?
Not to cut you off, Brian, but over fucking Christmas this year, this new thing is they do in mashups of songs.
Okay.
So somebody took Metallica's one and put it to Wham.
Oh.
Wham's Last Christmas. But they matched it perfectly.
They did.
and
I saw that
was,
too. Yeah.
It was
Yeah.
so fucking funny. Darkness imprisoning me. And it's like the Wham fucking, do, 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 do. Oh my fucking God.
Mike, what you were saying about the different layers here, like, yeah, with everything he's dealing with, the stress, and then he's also, got a fever, he's probably septic and everything, and he's probably not eating, so he's malnourished. I mean, there's so much stuff going on where, yeah, you really see how much he's suffering. This was a good dance scene, though.
This reminds me of
he's
Shining
actually
in a
pretty
way.
fucking good.
Yeah.
Like how he's breaking down.
Yep.
And he's seeing things that aren't there, like the light wall,
Right. He's having a
But
good
at that
time
point,
there.
you don't know. When you wake up, you're like, "Am I awake?" And you're usually not.
Right.
And it's
the
really
worst.
fucked up to be in that. Yeah, like
That.
This. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, there's just some really good editing here,
Yeah.
Yep.
and
There's the
sound,
part- oh,
and
man.
sound too. Like I don't know, sound doesn't come.
And that's another thing too. Really
Sound
quick, I'm
doesn't-
sorry to interrupt you. I have to do it though. When that necrosis was like going into his foot, that's what he's fearing in his dream.
Yeah.
That's what his mind is fearing because he knows that's what's going to happen, and it's not really happening. Well, in real life, it probably would have, but like, it's just fucking yeah.
Yeah, it's his
So
nightmare. Yeah.
I wonder
Yep.
how they came up with that sequence. Like, if they actually talked to, like, interviewed a bunch of people that have been through similar, not this exact situation, but
Right, but like yeah.
yeah.
He ended up taking off all of his toes by himself when he was left out in the open underneath that rock later on. That's when he really got fucked up.
In the real
And he
story?
took in the real story, he amputated all of his toes by himself with a knife. And it took him like a year or two to learn how to walk without toes. That's one of the reasons it took so long for convalescence. And he actually,
Jesus.
he ended up, as I say, I think in this, he ended up going back to Germany back to Norway while it was still under occupation because he wanted to be like go back with no toes.
Dude,
Like so, like in the spring of '45.
we were talking about weather where we all live at the beginning. When I was watching this last night, I was like, because it's been super fucking cold here. I was like, I am so glad I am inside because oh my god, cold feet. Oh, fuck that.
that was how I felt when every time his feet would just get wet and cold. I was
You're just like, oh
I was just like, nope.
yeah.
Boutson of 2017 taught me that
I almost killed Nathan that
my toes don't like cold.
I was telling someone about that the other day. That event that you guys
Dude,
did.
I wake up when my feet get cold. When my feet get cold now, they get cold in the basement now, and like I'm like standing here and I'm like, and my feet just can't get warm. I'm like, this is Boutson. This is fucking
There's-
a lifelong lesson of how my toes went.
You know those Band of Brothers, the original ones, where they have the interviews, and they talk about the original guys from Easy Company and stuff.
Yeah.
I'll never forget when I think about Boutson. I think about the guy's line from Bastogne. On a real cold night in the winter when the winds are howling,
Yep.
I'll always tell my wife, "I'm really glad I'm not a
Stone.
Bastogne."
Yep.
Fucking like
Is that how
Nate's
you
like,
guys
I'm
feel?
glad I'm not Boutson.
I'm not fucking soaking wet at 31 degrees.
This is fun. This is real hypothermia.
Yeah, I'm having fun, right? I'm gonna go to Walmart. I'm gonna get a heated blanket.
You wanted
That
a
was the
war,
event that
man.
I turned into this fucking guy by the end of it because like everybody left. I made sure everybody's gone, and like I had to walk 2 miles out, and I had a fur cap on, and like by the time I got out of it, I was frozen, and I was like my face was just snow. And I was just like, get me to the hotel now.
Yeah.
So you
fucking
guys
I am
would
done.
you guys would never do that again.
No, I would do it.
I probably would.
Yeah.
Hey, but
You're fucking retarded.
but I wouldn't want to do it in like 33, 32 rain for 48 hours, which is what we did.
We're just doing the other extreme, which is the Pacific. So now
Oh,
we're doing
Jesus.
the same, but it's like
Next,
we're
I'm
be in
gonna
Ohio
have
for
a
a
leech
weekend.
in my dick. Next, that's what's gonna happen.
Yeah, you're gonna get a leech in your dick.
Yeah.
I'm gonna get fucking heat, exhaustion. Like Birch is gonna sweat cheese. It's just gonna be great.
And I'll be yelling at you guys to drink fucking water because you're fucking retarded.
Nate's gonna smash a camera on a creek because the Japs are attacking down it. Yeah, it's gonna be
Sean's
great.
gonna behead me. It's gonna be great.
Those
The plane.
those look like real planes. Were they real? Like I don't think they were CG. Like if they
I think
were,
they look good.
If they were
looks-
CG, that was really good.
That
CG.
one looked like a real plane
Yeah.
to me.
I've never seen a Ju-52 float plane before though. That was interesting. The
They might have
tri-motor.
rigged something up and like got it to fly, but like I mean again, like so none of the cinematography or anything like that looked really shitty. Again, technical shit like the uniforms. Yeah, I could pick
It
that
was
apart all
writing
day.
and plot where it suffered, but no, it's shot beautifully. Norway's
Yeah.
gorgeous. It makes me want to watch that Narvik movie, but I caught a little bit of it.
So
and,
Brian R, you were just telling me that you were like going to check that out. Have you checked it out yet?
Yeah, I got through some of it.
The accents sound strange in it though.
Yeah.
So I don't know. It's very strangely dubbed.
Yeah, it was interesting. I still haven't finished it.
Is it worth us like doing an episode on it? You think?
I mean, I think you'll have fun with it regardless, right?
Well, maybe Brian should come back with us, and then we all review it. Our Norwegian expert.
That'd be fun.
Yeah.
He's not a Norwegian expert. This
He is now.
After you watch this movie, you are.
Yeah.
Join us for our third Norwegian thing when we do the Norseman with
This-
Brian.
Yep,
Roth.
what a Norway!
Well, it's funny. I looked up. They did make a movie about this story in 1957.
Yeah, called 9 Lives.
Yeah, Nine-
And it
yeah.
looks really good, by the way.
Okay, I've never seen it, so I'm like, maybe that's another one we should.
It's all on
Okay.
YouTube. I watched the trailer of it, and it's definitely in that style. It's made in the same style of the whatever film it was about the raid on the heavy water plant, raid on Trondheim. It's
okay.
made in like 50s, like realistic good style.
I will have
So
to
it's not
say it's
trash.
insane that it's like if that was true that he's left for 4 days hunkered under a rock.
Yeah.
enslaved
I was just thinking
Seven or
that.
something.
Yeah.
Like this guy
Yeah,
had to be
it's
very mentally tough. Like I would be sitting there after, I don't know, probably the first night and be like, "Are you fucking kidding me?"
Yeah.
Like they said they were gonna be here. I'm stuck underneath a rock on
Well,
the side of a mountain.
that's one of the best aspects about like survival movies is the just sheer bad luck that you get hit with.
Yeah.
And like that's always a great thing. Like I don't know, have any of you seen?
127 hours.
Yeah, that and the movie All Is Lost, one of which I love. I don't know if you've ever seen that. It has 0 dialogue in it. It's about a guy on a boat and just
Oh, is that with Robert
Redford? Yeah, and it's like
Yeah, I heard about that.
it's just like
So-
just as time goes on, just bad things just happen to him, just because of bad luck. And
There's probably a reason why I haven't seen that either. Any bad luck boat movies, I'm like, nope. Nope.
It's the ultimate bad luck boat movie. Nate,
Yeah,
so.
nope.
Have you seen Castaway, Nate?
I got a long time ago, and then I couldn't really get through it because it's not really like a boat like catastrophic movie. It's more of like the guy crashes in a plane and survives on an island.
Yep.
It's not as bad. I've seen it, but it's been a long time ago. I can't watch anything with like boats and survival. Because I've been out in that situation. I've been out in those oceans, and it's like I don't want to have to watch what could have happened. So
Yeah.
Well,
You could never see All Is Lost then because
Yeah.
it is the ultimate boat.
isn't
boat
that one?
fuckery
Isn't
movie.
he like on like a little modern like cruiser sailboat?
It is, yeah,
and
he's just
everything?
by himself.
It's exactly what I sailed on for like years. So
Yeah.
yeah. No.
So the
That's
Northern
Nate's
Lights,
nightmares.
Yeah.
Really quick. Let's touch on that because I think that was a really cool part of this film that they actually incorporated. Who here has seen the Northern Lights?
I have.
I have.
Not me.
Me, no.
Okay.
Have you?
Oh yeah, yeah. When you
Nice.
see them, it is
Can you see him in
It's-
Wisconsin? I'm not being ignorant. I don't know.
definitely you can. Yep.
Cool. I saw him
Once
in
in
New
a
York
while.
a few years ago. We had a very big Corona or something, and they came. You could see him like New York, Pennsylvania,
Yep.
and everything. It was fucking
And
cool.
when you look at that, it's like that is something so fucking surreal.
Makes you feel so small.
Yeah, well, yeah, but it's like in the film, they're like green lights. They are green, a lot of them, blue, whatever, yellow. And they move, but it's so big, right? And it's like, holy fuck. And if you've seen the Northern Lights, it actually gives you hope. Like when I saw it, I was like in a bad place in my life. Like I was like 14 years old. And I was like, okay, I can make it through this. And like, so when they showed him looking at the Northern Lights, and they were talking about it through the whole film, Brian R., what do you think about the Northern Lights?
Regarding this film, like how they reference them
just
later.
like your experience.
Oh, they're very cool. I was a kid when I saw them. We were up in Door County, and yeah, it's
Okay, yeah.
almost. I mean, I don't know what else to compare it to, because it's something that not everybody.
There's nothing like that I've ever experienced before, but like
No, because you can't. It's not like going and seeing the Grand Canyon, because the Grand Canyon's
No.
always there. So it's almost
Right,
like
the Northern Lights are not.
It's
and
like
they're
a
always
comet or
changing.
something.
yeah, it's
you
it's
know?
like it's like a moment that you're lucky enough to see. It's not like a destination you can go to and be guaranteed to see it or have that experience. Yeah, it was awesome. I thought it was at some point in this movie they reference how they made a joke about the Germans stealing the Northern Lights, I believe, and
They
how
said that
he-
a
Yeah,
couple
ship, I
times.
think.
Yeah.
yeah. So him seeing that, I mean, if I was in his shoes and I was shoved underneath a rock and I'm getting dripped on, I'm freezing, and they said they were going to be there that night and they weren't. I mean, that would definitely be fuel for me. I would hope, and that's I think that's how I took it, how it was in this movie.
Yeah, and it's like if you actually do see them in that bad of a spot, it gives you like, okay, well, they were saying the Germans are going to take the Northern Lights. Well, the Germans haven't taken the Northern Lights,
Right.
So I got to keep going. It gives you like that hope to like, well, things. The world's a beautiful place, you know.
Yeah.
As cheesy as that sounds, it's like that's what I got from it when I saw them. It's so surreal.
It's like an eclipse, you know? It's like, fuck, there's something bigger than me and I don't understand it. And wow.
I also I will say that it was funny, the girl in the house, it was like one of the child actors like I'm not instantly annoyed by. like she actually was a really good character. Like they actually fleshed her out pretty good, like I thought.
The one who draws the map.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a
Like
nice little thing.
yeah.
it wasn't like an insert child actor here moment. It actually
No, not
felt
at all.
like it felt like a real
Cutscene.
Yeah, it felt like a real building character. And then she comes back in his delusions, which I thought was very cool.
Yeah, that was cool.
Yeah.
You lost the map,
Yeah.
bastard.
Yeah, I'm glad they didn't get. It wasn't like the young Anakin Skywalker type child actor or something like that.
It wasn't Jake
Yep.
Lloyd. No.
Yeah,
Lord Skywalker, what are we going to do?
Yeah, because it was like it was very believable. Like that was just the kid that was in the house.
Yeah.
yeah,
That was something else that was different from the original story too, because he actually fought. He graduated in '39 as a cartographer, and then he actually joined the army and fought the Germans. And he had to leave Norway because of that. So he ended up in Sweden, and because of the war and occupation, he had to go that way because that was the only way to go. He couldn't go north; he had to go east and south. So that's why he ended up these crazy places and ended up in England, because he couldn't go west and he couldn't go north. So he had to go east, south, west,
Right.
you know. So it's just, yeah. I don't know why they really didn't mention that. They said he was like a spy because he went to Norway to make a map or something stupid. And it's like, why? Just tell the truth, you know?
Well, it's hard in propaganda films.
I know. Well, again, movies made for reasons.
Yep.
And
Was this made for you, Brian?
he's still got his sense of humor here. He's talking about his little sugar cube,
Yep.
right.
1 lick per meal.
God,
That's what
that
keeps you
must have
going.
sucked.
Stupid shit, you know?
Yep. Well, it's like when you're in like a really bad situation like that, it's like you have to make goals, and you go, okay, my goal is to stay awake for this long. I'll sleep for this long, and then at this hour, when I can see the sun at this distance, I can take a lick off my sugar cube. And it's like if you keep doing that, your brain stays alive. No matter how stupid the fucking goals are, right? How insignificant they are. If you can do that, you can keep your brain alive, and then bam, it's like, yeah. So again, it's like it's a really good survival film because it shows the mental part of it too. Like, not as much as I would have thought they would have or liked them to, but like it does show, like, yeah, the sugar cube thing. Yeah, that's something that's a short-term goal, and then you don't think about the long term of like, well, I'm going to die here, I'm going to freeze to death. Like, you just go, well, I'm just going to make it till the next lick of the sugar cube.
I like how they reinforced right there too when he comes back down and tells the girl Gudrun that he's still alive, and he says hi, right? And she has this like emotional reaction to it, and then like what we were talking about before, it says, yeah, in 20 years she got married. It's like you see this epic survival story, and then at the end, like one of the last things they show is like, yeah, life sucks. You don't always get what you want.
Yeah.
Right.
Sometimes a man's just got a sling dick on his own.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, it's
Norway.
Jan Balsrud continued to train new recruits until Norway was liberated. The war ended in May 8th.
Until he got sent back to Norway in spring of 45 before the war ended. But anyway,
Whoops. It's kind of like Albert Blythe died in 1947.
Oh, that shit,
of his
yeah.
injuries.
oh yeah, right.
Whoops. No, he didn't.
Can't hit edit undo on that.
And Dick Winters made that very
So-
goddamn clear in that interview that he didn't like that. So
Yeah.
One takeaway from this whole thing is that if you happen to meet a Norwegian girl of your fancy, you have now started a timer, and you have
20 years.
19 years, 11 months, and 28 days left to capitalize on it. So you got some fuck around time,
Yeah.
but you don't got a lot.
yeah, and it's like, why would you not capitalize on her? Like, I would have gone back and been like, hey, let's start a family. We're good to go.
A bear hit his head with a log back in '57, and then it just went downhill from there. You know?
All right, guys. So the question is, it already picked for us. I was gonna say, what movie do you want to do next? Walking with the Enemy. Walking with the
Enemy.
It was Walking with the Enemy. Winter and Wartime.
Oh,
the
Escape from
Auschwitz
Somewhere. I've actually
Report.
seen that. Yeah.
The Guard
I
of
haven't seen any of
Auschwitz.
those.
I haven't
Dude,
seen
Escape
any
from
of those.
Sobibor is actually kind of fun.
Dude, all we got to go is go on Tubi and pick our
Wait,
movie list.
You're calling a movie about escaping from one of the worst concentration camps ever made fun.
The movie is fun to watch.
Well, I'm going to leave it there. Let's see what happens. Yeah. I don't know how to reply to that, so let's watch it. You know,
I mean,
Dude, I love
if
the part in Schindler's List where the fucking SS guy can't hit dick. Like fucking, he's the worst shot ever.
Oh my! Oh,
Why is that guy holding a fucking?
Ooh.
Wait a second. Wait a second.
Okay, Nate, stop. Nate, let's stop.
Okay, we gotta go shot by shot here.
Let's bring it
SS
back now, y'all.
officer in
No, we're-
dress uniform with a fucking visor cap. Yeah, that's legit.
We're going back to Norway. So
Ben
Anyway.
Kingsley.
Ship for Norway.
Oh, all right, yeah, I'm saving that.
Anybody who's Norwegian who is still listening to this, you guys will know that I've said that twice, and
Norway.
it's fun. Jump for Norway.
how many kronigs would you like? Or the fuck their currency is.
Krone.
Krona.
Krone. Yep.
Better,
Crowns.
better than the euro. Awesome.
Well done, that.
Well, unfortunately, there was no real official IMFDB, but we did kind of touch on everything.
That's fucking weird because it's a recent film and like it's a lot of obvious shit. Like
There were
we say that a lot, but like we should just start fucking writing these fucking pages.
Yeah, I've done it before.
Join the boys as we, correct history.
The KAR 98, introduced in 1936, was the standard rifle of the Wehrmacht and other countries.
Why
subsequently.
was mine made in March of 1945? Or March of 1935 then?
There,
That's
you just
strange.
proved my point. Nope, no, just prove my point. So,
That's
we
right.
have nothing. We have nothing more to talk about on that subject. Brian, hey, Brian R. Since you're here, really quick, we're not going to get into a fight. It's going to be fine.
Oh my!
I just want your expert opinion
I
because
do
you're a
not.
fellow Milsurp nerd, but you're also a neutral party, which is good.
I do not have an expert opinion, but I'll try.
Yeah. So when was the KAR 98K adopted and used by the German military? What year?
Somewhere in between 35 and 36.
No, not a good answer.
It was literally 35. My gun is made in 35. And
Okay.
the crux of the argument was fucking that the AZ inspired the standard model, which inspired the K98. That was the whole argument.
No, that wasn't the argument. The argument was when it was actually adopted by the Wehrmacht.
Yes, the K98 was adopted in 35, but they also bought DRP standard models before that when they were arming before 35.
With police, and they were testing it. It wasn't officially
Yeah,
adopted.
they were
until
bought by the
36.
DRP and given to the army, so that's kind of being used. But anyway,
No, but like officially adopted. That was my thing.
it goes
Officially
AZ
adopted.
24 K98. Oh, officially adopted is 35 when they started making them for the German army. What I have in my safe.
What code
Anyway.
is your 35? Is it a banner?
SG 135 SG.
Okay.
Or SG 135. I forget the middle work. I forget. It's one of the Oberdorf or middle work plants. It's one of the early codes that they changed every year.
Okay.
But yeah, it's a not letter suffixed 8,000 serial numbered first week production candidate
Interesting.
1935. So
Nice.
It's a pile of shit. It's a hunk of shit. Too.
those early ones are nice, but I know what you mean. It was modernized in 40 because it's so early it didn't have the front sight hood on it and everything.
Okay.
No, and
So it was
dude,
rebuilt at
they
some
actually
point,
put
so.
the front sight. sighted on until actually like 40.
Yeah.
Like
30,
a lot of them.
38, 39, 40, I think is when the modernization happened, but I'm not exactly
The 40
sure.
is when it actually like they were like, okay, we need to every fucking rifle
they
we get
cut 'em.
back, we got to
Okay,
do that
so-
because like in 39 they didn't have them when they went into Poland, and then
Yeah.
by France you're seeing like a little bit of the front sight hoods and all that shit.
Mm-hmm.
Because guys were bitching, as we know. We don't have to regurgitate that, but like,
It's funny how they pop up. Yeah.
yeah, but it was like, yeah, in 40 they were like, let's just do this.
And then they made a slightly taller one for STGs and G43s because why not? So
Well, the fucking sight radius, like the thing was on both those rifles, it's so fucking high compared to the K98, which is like in line with the fucking barrel. The other ones is like the rear sight is so fucking high. Well, we got to raise the fucking rear sight. So fun stuff.
for a gun that has has a really good action but a really shitty gas system that was stolen from the Russians because we don't know how to fucking make weapons. But anyway, the Germans know what they're doing. Nothing is stolen.
They look good.
Oh yeah, fucking Hugo Boss knows what he's doing.
I'm half tempted to bring Brian R into the 43 discussion, but I won't do that.
Oh, I don't.
No, let's do it right now.
I don't have
Let's do
one,
it.
so I'm not good with those.
No, let's do it.
Okay.
Let's do it.
Good thing is you don't need to be an expert on it.
It's an MP44
So
with
the
the AK-47.
So
muzzle
the
brake.
big argument, I'm saying this is a 43 muzzle nut or on the end of this is actually a thing because they're not shooting blanks out of it. They're all three of them are stupid, and they're saying that's a BFA, an AK BFA. That is not.
It's not. No, we didn't. No,
People
no,
from
no,
Maryland
no,
don't
no,
have
no.
opinions, so it doesn't matter.
We didn't say it's an AK BFA. We said it's a BFA.
I've edited it, and you
Nope.
guys said AK smooth with no ridge or ribs.
We do say
And
AK,
you
so.
do say that. I've edited it. My
Okay.
argument was it's an original 43 muzzle nut because the ribs are there with the space and the ribs, and you
They're
guys
not.
are telling me no, they don't
It's
exist.
too fucking long.
It's not, because even looking at it
Brian R. What do you think?
I don't know. I'm trying to.
That's the right
Good
answer.
answer,
That's
yeah.
the right
this
answer.
is
got-
I'm like Charlie and fucking Always Sunny with the fucking billboard with the red strings. 'Cause
Yeah,
this
all
is
the
my-
yarn
this
everywhere.
This is my hill I
Pepe
die
Silva.
on because we
He
got
got
into an argument a lot like 2 weeks ago, and I will
Yeah,
still
he got
die
triggered.
on this hill. This is fucking because it's right. I'm nope.
Dude,
it's
Nate,
fucking there.
Nate.
It's fucking
If
there.
it was like a half a centimeter shorter, I would be able to buy it.
I'm
That fucking thing is too long. That's the problem.
I'm gonna pull out my Charlie presentation in about 3 or 4 weeks. And we'll hit it again.
Nate, that argument,
Okay.
you should do that for, the YouTube channels. Isolate that, with these images and all that
Oh,
stuff.
he will. He will.
I might even do my own video and just do a Charlie Day green
See,
screen.
you even
and
see
sit
these
there
guys
and
are
go,
making
idiots!
side, Nate.
So-
Yeah, there you go.
Here's
Nate,
the thing.
you're wrong.
Do you want to? Yeah, exactly.
Wait.
Nate, you're wrong.
I'm
Bring that
keeping
back
that.
up. Bring that back up, please, Brian.
Yes.
Bring that back
So-
up.
You're wrong.
You're
Nate,
wrong.
If you make that video, you're gonna get
I get it.
probably 30 or 40 views. If I make a rebuttal to your video, it's not gonna look good for you, bud.
Oh,
just not.
This is a dick measuring contest now.
Yeah.
Oh, this is definitely a
Is
dick
this,
measuring contest at
is
this
this
point.
I look at my followers versus your followers? Yeah.
No, it's my followers will have common fucking sense and be like,
Bullshit.
Yeah, Nate's high on crack because A, it's a different color. B, it's too fucking long. C,
I'm
it doesn't
not gonna
have the
get
fucking
into this
ribs.
conversation with you. They are different colors. They have different fucking wear on them. There's fucking evidence on
So
the fucking world.
your
that they have
fucking
different-
muzzle nut, your muzzle nut is gonna have more wear than your fucking
It,
front
can't-
sight.
it doesn't
fo-
have
okay,
to fucking match.
Okay.
I'm gonna say. I just want to say one thing, and then we'll move on.
I'll move on.
Okay.
I'll move on.
Yep.
Back when we started recording these podcasts, and I knew Michael and Mike B really well. I know Nate forever. Nate was like, wow, Mike B, I've been watching him for a few years. That's cool. And I really like to meet him and stuff. And now Mike B is going to weaponize his YouTube channel against Nathan to prove that he's wrong. So within the span of a year, it went from like, I really like to meet that guy. I've been watching him for a few years to like,
And
he's
now-
now attacking me personally.
That's a nerd
I'll
like
fucking
right
do it.
there, man.
Good work. That's a character arc right there.
You're wrong. Brian and myself and those guys are gonna be right.
But
and
what
say,
if I'm
no,
right?
it's a fucking.
But what if I'm right and then I embarrass you in front of all your fucking followers because I am right because I am right. because I am 100%.
But this is like, I mean, how fucking retarded can you get, Nate? Like,
I think the term is weaponized autism.
well, we're all autistic if you really want to get into that. But like, because we're sitting here arguing about a fucking piece of metal on the end of a fucking.
Weaponized nerdisms. Okay.
There's some actor who's sleeping in Australia right now who has no idea that some people are halfway around the world are bitching about what
Bitching about the
firearm he
fucking-
was handed for his day player job 6 years ago in Queensland. So, you know, like...
On a positive note, the SKS behind him has got the fucking spike beam. That is a Type 56. I like that. So it's
Brian, I appreciate your honesty and going. I don't fucking know.
Yeah,
So I appreciate it.
I saw.
he's also
He's a
very
smart
smart.
man.
I wanted to
man.
know. I wanted to at least get something, but I am not done. This is not done.
It's too fucking
This
long.
is not
It's
done.
too fucking long.
Don't fucking trigger me, Mike. I'm gonna fucking go.
That's it. That's okay.
Dude.
If it was the
dude,
length-
dude,
if it was the length of the original muzzle
if
knot-
Brian rolls his eyes one more fucking time because I start engaging you, he's gonna fucking go to the moon. Okay,
I'll be done. I'm just saying that's the only argument that I have is like I'll look past the discoloration, the blatant discoloration. It's just too fucking long, like compared to the original muzzle nuts and whatever.
I hear you.
Oh,
I hear you.
you say you
no,
agree?
No.
Oh, no.
No.
Did you guys hear that? Did you guys hear that?
I agree it is long, but that is the length of the 43s, the
It's
very
not.
early
But anyway,
43s
it's-
of the
it's
production,
not.
not the ones that you guys got comparisons, because they've changed them 3 fucking times in this fucking manufacturing history. I know this because I
And you have the
fucking
book,
looked at
and it didn't show that. So
because
whoops.
I can't. I'm not.
You know,
I'm not going to
it's
go
times
higher.
like these. It's times like these that I wish this was like a control room where I could just mute Nathan. I'd be like, okay, guys. So what do you think?
Mike's right.
You
Everybody
know?
else is right. Fucking
like-
he's wrong.
It's like Rush Limbaugh is like, you know, goddamn libs, and like just mute. Oh, okay, there we go. It's nice. So that's a screen.
All right, I'm done.
You know, we'll bring him in
done.
when he's all ready.
I'm done.
Liar.
I'm done.
I'm done too.
I'm done.
Again, I already
I'm
made
still
my
fucking
stance
right,
clear.
but I'm done.
You're gonna make him fucking throw up again. Smoking blank adapters out of crab shells. But anyway, so I think we have exhausted all of our thoughts about everything, and that now it's time to move on to closing thoughts. So
Yep.
What movie was? Oh yeah, the 12th Man. Yeah, I was
well,
like, what was the movie
so-
again?
yeah.
Sorry.
After that,
Let me
conversation.
reiterate. Yeah, let me restart this. We head into Fortress Europe this week with Harald Zwart's 2017 war drama, The 12th Man. There we go.
Your
So we're
horse
back in
fucking me,
Norway.
right?
Horse fucking me.
I've been fucking horses for years. But anyway,
I am soloing that. That is solo. That is.
that's fine.
There's your YouTube short right there.
Yeah.
You took the fucking
I've
bait.
been
You
fucking
took the
horses
fucking
for
bait.
Why did you get demonetized?
Fucking.
But,
yeah.
Yeah, so we made the final thoughts. So I will start. So just to let you know, Brian, we like the joke is we have a talking pillow. So you know, we have it start with somebody and then it ends up wherever it ends up. So I would like to start with you. Get your opinion of this and your rating. 0, you hate it. 10, you love it, or it's the best movie you ever want to watch, and you're only have this on Netflix till you die.
I'd say 7.5. Yeah, like you guys were saying, the cinematography was really good, and I, like I stated, I like movies that are a little bit outside of the box. You know, it's not a big World War II movie, but it was something different, and you know, I like the little facts that we were talking about with the attention to detail with the Soviet prisoners, you know, how they actually tried to get kind of a Soviet coat there on the one guy, and I just thought it was an interesting out of the box movie.
All right. Yeah. So yeah, it was again the cinematography. I have nothing to bitch about in that respect, which is odd for a war film. Storyline, whatever. A lot of the German uniforms were mostly good, but like just little things just were shitty. The writing wasn't good, wasn't bad. Again, the cinematography brings it up a lot, and so I'm gonna give it a 6.5 out of 10 because it does get very boring at times. It's so drawn out, I think, and like Michael said earlier, like there's some scenes that could have just not been in there and it would have been fine. But I get you have to make your time cut, like you have to make the fucking time for distribution and all that shit. But like, yeah, the whole like what brought it down a lot was like the whole Nazis thing. You know, it's like portraying every fucking German as like this fucking hardcore, goose stepping fucking, just fucking vicious villain. I get it, but it's like, yeah, it could have been a lot better without that. But so yeah, 7.5 or 6.5, right? What did I say?
You said 6.
I got you. 6.5 Carcano.
Yeah, 6.5 per Cano. Yeah. Nathan.
Yeah, so
How many males we got this week?
yeah, I don't know. It's hard because like hearing all you guys' points kind of have pulled me out of cloud nine a little bit. But I mean, I still really, really like the film as a whole. Cinematography, really, really good. Editing, really, really good. Pacing could have been a little faster in some certain areas. Some scenes could have probably been, cut some of your darlings, but they weren't egregious. I wasn't like checking the movie to end. It wasn't like 1898 where I was like, okay, dude, how much more fucking movie is this? And oh, surprise, El Chapo. Sorry, laughed at my.
Why'd you make that joke 3 weeks ago?
I think I did. Yeah, laughing at my own joke. But no, it just was. I really, really liked the parts that I really liked. Really, really stood out. And but going over like some of Mike B's like things that he pointed out, like the fucking helmets were really bad, a lot worse than I noticed the first time. The character, the evil character, quotation marks, in terms of like the big baddie, seemed very dry, but there were some humanizing parts to the character I thought was interesting. But again, I think cinematography editing really brings it up. So I'm going to give this a 7.5 Scream Mel Gibsons out of 10. I enjoyed a lot of what it brought to the table more than what it brought down with it. The survival stuff was good. Yeah, there's some parts you can point out, but overall, I came out of it just really enjoying it. And so yeah, I think after everything we talked about, yeah, I think a 7.5. So
Nice. So a mildly annoying Mel.
a mildly muffled Mel. Yeah.
Jesus.
3 M's.
So yeah. So Mike A, go for it.
So yeah, I think a lot of the survival stuff, like I say, I liked in it, and even if it was a little bit improbable at times, or even if that isn't what entirely happened to the guy, I don't know. I didn't look up really all of how factual this was, but I'm a sucker for survivalist kind of movies, just having to hang on by a thread and all that stuff. So that stuff I thought throughout the movie was really good. I did not like all the stuff with the Germans, as we've talked about, the that archetype and the whole like cat and mouse game that the villain and him are I hate that shit. Like, just don't do that, just have it be the survival. That's that's what's important. But and the presence of the Germans is enough of a threat. And yeah, the Germans just don't get a break in the movie. They're just all like these killers who are trying to get them, no matter what. And they're slimy and they're skeevy and all this shit. And so I didn't like that part of it, but I did like the survivalist parts of it. And again, you can't go wrong with that cinematography and the directing too. I thought the directing was pretty good. There are tons of shots that just ooh, that's good. Not only visually beautiful, but just like story wise, very nice. And same with the editing. So I'm going to give it a 7 out of 10. Solid 7. And then
Decent.
That leaves the 13th man up there.
Yes. Yep. Send you all of your deaths. I took the firing pin out of that stand before the operation even started.
We should definitely do that fucking movie, by the way. I'm just saying.
Oh, fuck yeah.
Well, it's still winter up here. Like, we should probably do that.
I got to
Where Eagles Dare.
Oh, I've never seen that.
I got to.
Oh, you've never seen it? Oh, it's fucking amazing.
Nah.
I'll have to re-listen to the book because it's one of my favorite books ever. It's so well written. That and The Guns of Navarone. Those books are just amazing. Oh my god. It starts with, I don't know what's louder, the inside of a Lancaster or the inside of a Boilermaker factory. It's just so fucking
Brian R., you've seen Where Eagles Dare, right?
No, I don't believe I have.
Ooh.
Well, we should change that. So yeah, it's a movie. You know, it's an interesting film with an interesting subject, but I feel like in the end it's not what it could have been or should have been. It's really good cinematography, and there's some really good scenes. I love that cabin fever scene. That's gonna stick with me. It's one of those shots where I'm not gonna forget, and I want to emulate that in the future. Other than that, I mean, it's just like they really have these stupid, worn-out resistance tropes all the time, like with the SS guy and the baddies and everything, and it's just like, it's just annoying. It seems like it doesn't know what it wants to be at top points. If it wants to be this like resistance thriller, or if it wants to be this survival thriller, and like at times it feels like it's either it bounces back from like Flame and Citron to like 127 hours, not in the best way. But that being said, it's really cool how he fucking just gets really fucked up during the whole film, and how he really does degrade. And it's one of the few films that shows how people degrade. Like Chernobyl did a really good job with that, the TV show of like the firefighters and showing like, yeah, fucking this is radiation sickness, you're dying, you're dead. And this film did a good job of that with the elements too. Because there's not a lot of other films that show the horrors of real cold. Like in Stalingrad, they're like, oh, all you do is you go to sleep. It's like, yeah, and it's really fucking painful as you do that. So, yeah. That being said, it's definitely a movie made for a Norwegian audience. And to really sum it up from a line in the film, it's we need a miracle. We need a hero. We need somebody to rally behind, and that's what they're really trying to do here. They're trying to prop up this guy from the war. But I feel like they could have done it better. So that being said and everything, I would give this a 6 out of 10. It's a World War II movie, and if you want to watch it about Norway, that's really cool. I just feel like they could have done more work on it and made it a better film. So it's beautifully shot. It's got a lot of cool scenes, and it's a movie. So adding up all these scores into the computer that will tell us if this SS officer actually, did lose anybody in his career, we get a score of, if I can't do math.
We just added an extra number. What has changed?
I did actually. Oh, wait, what? That doesn't make any sense. Okay, I guess I can't do math this week.
Okay, so what you do is you type in all the scores.
Oh yeah, I fucking hate you.
And then you divide it by the number of people here.
Okay,
divide it
I
by
got
5.
7.5 cheese wheels plus 4.3 cheese wheels plus
You're
4.
6.9. 6.9.
Cool.
So that's not bad.
so not bad. It's like
It's-
a pretty average scoring
Who
film.
gave it a 4?
No, it was a joke.
Oh.
It was- it's a joke,
yeah,
not a
6
dick.
point-
Don't take it so hard, Nate.
Yeah, right. Or maybe choke on a dick. But
Whoops.
yeah, 6.9. I mean, it's worth watching.
69. Yep.
And it's an interesting film.
Yeah,
And it will
it's
get
definitely
you started
like
on a path of cool shit that happened in Norway during the war. Because a lot of cool
yeah.
shit
Well,
happened
there's a
in Norway.
lot of that shit, and there's actually quite a few films more than I would think that are made about that whole campaign.
The one thing I have to recommend for this and anybody that's watching is there's a really cool show on Netflix. I can't remember the name of it right now, but basically they take 12 random people off the street and they put them through SOE training, exactly as they did it during the war.
Oh,
Yeah.
I
And
can't remember what that's called. Yeah.
It's really cool. They do a good job, and they have a different smattering of people, but it really goes to show you, not everyone is cut out for this kind of training, like all kinds of training, but it's kind of a really cool thing to, show how they train these people from the occupied nations to go back there to fight. So it's kind of a really neat insight. There's really nothing else out there like it. So if you like clandestine operations and like kind of want to know the backstory to how this guy trained, like in Scotland and stuff, definitely look it up on Netflix. It's pretty cool.
That's interesting.
Yeah. So, Brian, thank you so much for joining us. We learned a little bit about rifles and things. And if anybody needs any accuracy bits for their candidates or Moisens and shit, if you want to turn your garbage rod not to a garbage rod, even though it's not a garbage rod, go check out Milsim Accuracy Incorporated, and Brian will fucking hook you up with anything.
Yeah. We'll make it shoot like it's supposed to. Put it back into spec and.
Yep.
I like that. So
Maybe you can
Yeah,
teach Brian how to say Mosin correctly. So
Yeah. Instead of Moisen.
Yeah.
now
There's
you
no
won't,
fucking.
so.
There's no second eye in there. But,
Moisen.
no, and also, I
Moisha.
just want to say with Brian's Brian Rouse accuracy kits, he also gives you an instruction booklet that it's like a no-brainer. Like, you can be the biggest retard like me, and like the instruction booklet walks you through how to install them, how to troubleshoot if something's not perfect.
Yeah,
and like
it's
fucking easy.
It's step by
Yep.
step. And actually, if anybody was on the fence whether they wanted to purchase something, they could always reach out to me and ask me any questions that they might have. Or you can actually go on the website at millstarpaccuracyinc.com, and they have the instructions right there. You could read through them before you make the purchase, and
Yep.
kind of see if it's something you think you can handle.
I said, oh, to make the joke, you might not get your dick stuck in a ceiling fan, but we can't guarantee that you will.
Right, right. But if anybody gets stuck on a step or something like that, I give out my personal email and I answer whatever questions I can and help as much as I can. And I like to see people be able to take a rifle that might have been sitting in their safe for years, and they put it there because it didn't shoot well, and now they can put a little bit of time into it and get some performance out of it.
Yeah, and you've been doing this now since I've known you, right? For like, this is over 10 years you've been doing this, right?
Yeah, I started doing the templates in like 2012 or 2013,
Yeah.
and I believe I started selling in 2013.
Yeah, because remember we were on gun
Oh, wow,
boards
so this
way
is the
back
10-year
in the day.
anniversary. I just realized
And,
that.
yeah. Jesus, yeah. And so we were on gun boards, and like you were like saying you wanted to do this, and then you started selling them, and then like everybody bought a set. And I bought a set, I just never installed it back in the day. And then you sent me a couple sets like in 2019, and I fucking don't know where the hell I put them, because I'm like, oh, I'll go to the range, I'll do a video on it, which I did, but I never like actually installed them. So I'm gonna find those fuckers and then actually I'm just gonna take a standard 9130 and do like a preliminary, like, all right, this is what it's getting at 100 yards, and then install the shims,
Right.
and then show the improvement.
Yeah, show the
But, like,
progression of all the steps.
yep, exactly. So that's what I'll do. But yeah, I'm just a fucking scatterbrained retard. So
As am I.
it's all good. But yeah, thanks, man. Thanks a lot for showing up, and I'm glad you watched the movie. And yeah, it's not bad.
For sure. And I appreciate the invitation from all you guys. It was nice meeting you, and I appreciate getting to shoot the shit with you guys and sit through the movie. And kind of, it's cool to hear other people's perspective on everything and what they thought of the film.
Exactly.
And, yeah, this was great.
Yeah, that's what we do. Like on this podcast, it's fun because, we kind of know, like, well, we don't. I shouldn't say that. Like, it's fun to hear our perspectives, like us four. But like when we have guests that are nerds that appreciate history and like that shit and like cinema, it's cool to hear a different perspective that is kind of fresh and new. Like, because there's things that you brought up that I was like, oh shit, I didn't notice that until you brought it up.
Like the Total Recall face.
Total Recall face, yeah, absolutely.
He didn't recall that at all.
No.
Damn, that
Holy
was good.
shit, Brian, the 13th man has the jokes tonight.
There's jokes in this
I'm going to
episode.
send you to
ladies and gentlemen.
Antarctica.
Yeah, there's a couple little jokes. It's good fun,
Right.
It's weird how I turn into full Guido mode. Like I always make fun of them and I go, oh, like shit. It's not good.
Sometimes you sound like you're from New Jersey, but you've definitely never been. But anyway.
Never been, and I never want to go. No offense.
The tar pit, the good old tar pits of northern New Jersey. So. Anyway,
anyway, gentlemen. Yeah.
Brian, thank you so much. I'd love to have you on again. Maybe we can go do Narvik.
Awesome.
So
Yeah,
and our
Narvik, we
Norwegian
should do
expert
that.
can join us again.
Awesome. That'd be great.
Awesome. Cool. Well, thank you, everybody, and we'll catch you next week. Thanks for joining us. If you enjoyed this episode, make sure to leave a rating. Otherwise, Mel Gibson won't stop screaming. If you like this content, make sure to check out our Facebook, YouTube, and Instagram pages. If you want to directly support our work, make sure to check out our Patreon. All these links are in the description below. Until the next time, Scuttlebutt out.